remind everybody what we're about. Today is Monday, August 11, 2014, and this is a public hearing before the Massachusetts Gaming Commission relative to the application for a Category 1 resort casino gaming establishment submitted by Mohegan Sun, Massachusetts, LLC. My name is Jim McHugh. I'm one of the commissioners. I'm joined by Commissioner Gil Cameron on my right. On my immediate left, Commissioner Enrique Zuniga, and on my far left by Commissioner Bruce Stebbins. We're located at the Revere High School Auditorium, 101 School Street in Revere, and are here today to conclude the public hearing that began on June 24, 2014. This is the third session of that hearing. As you may recall, we left the public hearing open so that interested individuals who did not previously have a chance to provide comments would have a chance to do so, and to allow individuals an opportunity to comment on any event that has occurred since we began this hearing on June 24. This is not, however, intended to provide individuals with a second opportunity to offer the same comments, but we're looking tonight for comments about matters that have occurred since we began. The Commission scheduled, as many of you know, indeed probably all of you know, to begin final deliberations for the award of the Region 8 gaming license the week of September 8th. The public support for Mohegan Sun proposal, or the lack of that support, will be an important factor that the Commission will evaluate in making the final award of the license. According to your presence here today and the previous hearings, and the written comments you've submitted will play an important role in the decision we ultimately make. So thank you all for being a part of this process. Before we begin, I'd like to remind everybody what the process is and establish the ground rules that will follow tonight. The hearing is intended to provide the Commission with the opportunity to address questions and concerns relative to the applicant's proposal to build a gaming establishment as those plans were set out in its RFA 2, that is the second stage application. The inquiry may include topics related to the scope and quality of the gaming establishment, the amenities, the integration, and additionally the Commission will receive input from members of the public and any impacted community. At the previous hearing, we heard presentations by the applicant as well as presentations from representatives of the host community of Revere and from surrounding communities. We then began by taking public comments, and we'll pick up at that point today. At the conclusion of the comments from members of the public, we will afford the applicant an opportunity to make any closing comments it would like to make. In an effort to make the best use of our time, we ask that any member of the public proceed as follows in addressing all of us on the stage here. First, any member of the public who would like to address the Commission must be on our list of speakers. If you send an email to the address on our website or signed up as you came in the building today, your name has been added to the list. If you haven't, please be sure to add your name to the list, which is located to the entrance, near the entrance to the room. We ask that only people from the host or surrounding communities speak here today. Second, when I call your name, please come to the microphone and state your name and tell us where you're from. I'm going to call two names initially, and then I'm going to call somebody always to the on-deck circle, which is right behind Mayor Rizzo. It's the seat marked reserved. That way we can get people to transition from the audience to the podium quickly, so that will help us make sure the hearing proceeds smoothly. Third, in order to ensure that everyone who wants to speak gets an opportunity to do so, we ask that you please limit your comments to 4 minutes in length. We have a clock up front that will count down the time so you'll be able to tell how much has elapsed, and please be sure that your comments and questions relate to the particulars of this proposal and not to your views on gaming and casinos in general. With those remarks, I forgot that we'll add this. For those of you who have submitted written comments about this project, please understand that all of those comments have been read. Many of them are in the packets that we received tonight, and we've read many more, but all the comments that were submitted by any of you, and those who were not in attendance, have been read by all of us. At the conclusion of the hearing, and the one we'll conduct tomorrow at Everett, commission will officially close the mandatory statutory hearings. And the law says that the commission must take action on the applications between 30 to 90 days from the date that the public hearings have closed. So with those preliminaries, I'll begin calling the names of individuals who have signed up to speak. I note here among the many representatives of the city, Mayor Rizzo, did you want to speak first, sir, or were you going to go toward the end? All right. So then I'll begin with Anthony Zambuto, a member of the Revere City Council. Mr. Zambuto. Mr. John Powers of the Revere City Council. Mr. Ira Novoleski of the Revere City Council. And let me call Arthur Guanasso of the Revere City Council to the on-deck circle C, I guess I should say, in my mind. Mr. Novoleski. Novosello.
Thank you very much. I'm not used to being the lead-off hitter on the team, but I'm proud to be in this position right now. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Welcome back to Revere. The last time I appeared before you, I brought to your attention my personal and immediate impacts of the Mohegan proposal to my neighborhood as the Ward 2 councilor, of which the area directly abuts the proposed site. Today I appear before you to relate the overall impacts of the proposal. As a former City Council President, I am familiar with the various cities and towns in the area with their respective issues. Clearly, the Mohegan Sun project, with a dozen surrounding community agreements totaling over $50 million per year, is the superior project. On every level, this project reaches out to the region. In our own host community agreement, 20% of the jobs will go to the Revere residents, but 75% will go to folks within a 15-mile radius of the project. To that end, Mohegan Sun has been conducting outreach efforts around the neighboring towns of Salem, Saugus, Chelsea, Lynn, to mention a few, and down into the city of Boston itself, in Dorchester, Mattapan, Roxbury, as well as within that 15-mile radius. In terms of small business development, nearly 400 businesses have signed up for the Momentum Points program, a program that pushes player points out into the community, potentially millions in revenue. Compared to gift cards on Main Street and with other projects, there is no other proposal that goes to this level. There is no comparison. And on the subject of small business and local vendors, there is proposed $10 million in buying commitments from Revere vendors in Revere, backed up by commitments for $50 million in buying commitments for businesses within 15 miles, again in neighboring cities, towns, and the city of Boston. In terms of traffic, I have been working with the traffic engineers for the past 4 years to assist in developing a traffic plan to ease the flow of traffic in, around, and out of the project area. I believe that the $45 to $60 million committed by Mohegan Sun will help alleviate the traffic impact, although we know that nothing is perfect. Also, we know that there will have to be some tweaking once we get rolling and realize that things have to be adjusted in many of the solution locations. In the end, in my mind, one must ask, which project does the least amount of harm for the most good? Weighing it, much like plotting it on a graph on the X and Y axis, if you were to do that, the solution point, the point where those lines cross, would point to our project in Revere. Everything I have mentioned shows the potential economic impact for not only our immediate region, but the entire Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I consider the Mohegan proposal far superior to any proposal that is before you. Together with Suffolk Downs as our home team, we hope to be excited to deliver the mass gaming industry's signature project. Please take all of this into consideration to allow Mohegan Sun to be the choice for the casino gambling license in Region 1. Thank you for consideration, Ms. Mayor.
Steve Reardon, Councilor Steve Reardon, is next to the on-deck seat, please.
Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission, good afternoon. My name is Arthur Fanasso, City Councilor, representing Wide City of Revere. I have lived in Revere my entire life and appreciate the opportunity to attending several of these hearings. What I am about to say may seem presumptuous, and I apologize if that's so. But to me, the answer and selection seems obvious. I realize that you have heard and will hear from many people today. It is not my intent to restate all that has been said, or all will be said. Instead, I would like to briefly summarize much of what I've thought about and heard at hearings over these past several months. The fact is, Mohegan Sun Resort Casino at Suffolk Downs will offer a much greater benefit on a regional basis than our opposition. It's not even close. From our own host agreement to the various surrounding community agreements to the tens of millions of dollars we have spent on locally bought goods and services and Mohegan Sun Reward Club point program. Mohegan Sun will transform not just Revere, but the entire region. As dramatic as that is, we must also consider Mohegan Sun's location. Its proximity to Logan Airport and accessibility by public way transportation is unparalleled. And has been said, the preservation of the 78-year history of thoroughbred racing and the hundreds of jobs it supports. In addition to all this, the proposed infrastructure improvements and traffic solutions will accompany this project will propel the city of Revere and our regional neighbors into a bright and prosperous future. I'd like to emphasize the word traffic solution. It has been said, repeating, our traffic plan improves every intersection and roadway directly impacted by the resort. The same cannot be said of neighbors to the west. Again, it seems obvious to me. Mohegan Sun and Suffolk Downs is the right choice, for not only the reasons that I have described, but for the numerous other ancillary benefits that we in Revere as a region can reasonably anticipate. We have the right location. We have the right transportation plan. We have the right mitigation package. Mohegan Sun is the right operator for Massachusetts and the North Shore. Now is the time for Revere and the region to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. Ward 4 City Council, Stephen Reardon. I have not had the opportunity to speak to you before, but I do want to thank you all for the tremendous work that you've been doing. I think few people appreciate the difficulties with instituting a completely novel program, novel legislation, a novel idea to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Some people think that these things can be done with no bumps in the road, and it's virtually impossible. I think you folks have done a great job, especially in keeping this an open debate for everybody to engage in, especially people that you see here tonight. I also appreciate your patience because I know what you've heard is somewhat redundant. So to avoid that, I'm hoping to elucidate a little bit on the historical perspective of the gaming industry in Massachusetts, and particularly here in Revere. Prior to the 1930s, Revere was essentially a bedroom community for land workers who thrived in the factories of Lynn and Chelsea. We also had a seasonal, obviously a seasonal tourist industry at Revere Beach, and believe it or not, we actually had farms in the city at that time. Then came the racing legislation in the 1930s, and within a few months of each other, Wonderland and Suffolk Downs both opened to throngs of people coming in and visiting. At that time was the only legalized gaming in Massachusetts. In fact, other than Las Vegas, most of the rest of the country. So Revere having Suffolk Downs and Wonderland, I think I'm not stretching it when I say Revere is the birthplace of the gaming industry in Massachusetts. For many years thereafter, the industry thrived. The industry provided great paying jobs, allowed citizens to feed their families, to buy homes in the city, to educate their children, and to, in an offer, financial security security for our residents as well. As late as the 1970s, the gaming business in Revere was thriving through both of these complexes, both at Suffolk Downs and at Wonderland in Revere. And although I was busy working in the family business, most of my friends at that time put themselves through college working at Wonderland Park. And again, the other businesses that thrive, the local businesses, including the restaurant and cafe that I worked in. At one time, in fact, over 30 police officers worked at Wonderland Park and were able to get overtime pay paid for by Wonderland to address the traffic issues that we dealt with. And we dealt with those traffic issues without too much complaint. Shifts in the gaming preferences for gaming, unfortunately, including the proliferation of lotteries and casinos in other jurisdictions, made it very difficult to maintain a racing facility and maintain the level of racing that it once had. This also coincided with the decline in our tourism in Revere Beach. And these phenomena are not unusual. It's fairly true nationwide that racing facilities without the support of gaming revenue in some way, shape, or form have difficulty thriving. So you can see that this industry, and I hate to use the word gaming because it's sometimes considered the only game, this is an industry that has grown to be much more than gaming. And this is what Mohegan Sun is offering, this marvelous facility that they are proposing to build just a mile or so from here. And this is what we'll do for our community. I ask that you grant this license to this project for the city of Revere and Mohegan Sun, and allow the rejuvenation and revitalization of the gaming industry here in Revere, which again is the birthplace of the industry in the Commonwealth. This industry is the very fabric of our community, it is our history, and it is our destiny. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, Representative Vincent.
Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak today. My name is Rosalie Vincent, and I'm a proud, lifelong Revere resident. I'm here today to voice my wholehearted support for Mohegan Sun's proposal for a Revere casino. The basic intent of the expanded gaming legislation was to create jobs, generate local aid, and be a source of economic growth for the Commonwealth. As a legislator, it is my firm belief that Mohegan Sun, Massachusetts meets and exceeds the intention of that bill better than any other applicant. Mohegan Sun will be providing 2,500 construction jobs and 4,000 permanent jobs with preference to local applicants. I'm excited that Mohegan is committed to providing 75% of these permanent jobs to people residing within a 15-mile radius. This project will be exactly the type of facility that will fuel sustained economic development for the entire North Shore for generations to come. The surrounding cities and towns recognize this as well. They've embraced the notion and have all reached generous agreements with Mohegan Sun. This targeted regional economic growth was a driving force behind the legislation, and this proposal ensures just that. On a personal note, as a lifelong neighbor of Suffolk Downs, I know there are hundreds of jobs at stake and thousands more across New England dependent on the horse racing industry. A Mohegan Sun casino would not only preserve those jobs, but create job growth within the industry. The bottom line is that a Mohegan Sun casino in Revere makes perfect sense. Because of Revere's rich history with Suffolk Downs, its superior location, and most importantly, because Mohegan Sun's proposal not only meets but surpasses the guidelines set forth in the expanded gaming legislation. In closing, thank you for your time and your consideration. It is my my hope, when all things are considered, you will look favorably upon Mohegan Sun, Massachusetts. Thank you.
I apologize for being late. I understand I was called while I was still in my cab. I want to thank you for an opportunity to speak to you once again. So I decided what I probably should do is summarize some of the things I talked about before. I told you in my first appearance that I was thrilled to speak after 15 years on the City Council, to speak for the entire City Council. I don't know if we've ever been in unanimity on anything before, but we certainly are on the fact that Revere, Mohegan Sun should be casino awarded in this area. I told you in my first appearance that this is obviously transformational for the city of Revere with economic development and the fact that it'll give us more than 20% of our budget in growth every year. Now, as someone who served in the City Council, I know how important growth is, because when I first came on the City Council, I learned that you need a certain amount of growth just to sustain what's going on without raising taxes. And this will truly be wonderful for the city of Revere. But more important, it'll bring Revere Beach back to the destination it always was. The fact that this is such an outreaching proposal and all the surrounding communities are really excited about this is because it truly is a rising tide that lifts all boats. I talked about the traffic solutions in my last appearance. I told you about the Route 16 interchanges that you go on Route 16 west to a ramp right to Route 1 north and eliminate all that traffic from Bell Circle. The ramp coming off Route 1 south to Route 16 east to 1A to eliminate all that other traffic going to Bell Circle. I talked about the Boardman Street overpass and really what this will do, not just to mitigate the traffic that's going to come to the casino, but to really improve our existing traffic situation here. We just had the National Sand Sculpture Festival. I think the estimates were 600,000 to 700,000 people in 3 days. We had no trouble getting them here. One of the reasons were the Blue Line. A lot of people took public transportation. We all know that there's a stop at Mohegan Sun on the Blue Line at Beachmont Station. There's no other casino anywhere that has that kind of amenity. I just think it's unbelievable what it will do for this region. All our partners in the surrounding communities have always truly been cheerleaders because they know what it's going to do for the surrounding communities. And to bring back the Mohegan Sun proposal will really be a destination, not just for Revere Beach, but Suffolk Downs and Revere Beach have always been destinations. It's just going to revitalize it. I guess, I know you have a tough decision, but the way I see it, you have two different proposals. One's an outreaching proposal that is Mohegan Sun. You see all our partners and the wonderful agreements they've made with all the surrounding communities. The other is a Las Vegas model that seeks to keep everybody in that casino and no outreach to anybody else. I hope you decide on Mohegan Sun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry for being a little late today, but
Mr. Powers?
yes,
Yes.
Councilor Powers, Ward 5, City of Revere. First of all, I want to thank all of you, as well as Chairman Crosby, for your diligence and all of the input that you've received and
had from residents of the area. I'm a little partial towards Suffolk Downs. I was born the day Suffolk Downs opened, July 10, 1935. I guess I should be dating myself. As Representative Vincent said, the intent of the legislature when casino gambling was enacted and authorized in Massachusetts was to bring additional revenue into our Commonwealth and to provide jobs for those who are unemployed and those who would come in the future. And I think to do that, you have to make a casino and an entertainment complex convenient, easy to get to. Otherwise, people won't come. And I'm going to tell you now why I believe that Suffolk Downs, Mohegan Sun, is the best location for this casino. First of all, it'll be built much quicker, there'll be no contamination on that site whatsoever. Secondly, there is no question as to the ownership of that site, who's involved with it, who isn't involved with it. Thirdly, there is a direct rapid transit line, just 4 stops from the proposed site. There's a direct link from the Ted Williams Tunnel from the Mass Turnpike, which will bring tourists in from the east, the south, and the west at a very good speed. The potential to build a commuter stop at the rear of Wonderland, over in back of Wonderland, we have a walkover similar to what they have at Station 1 over in Medford, where people can come from the North Shore, get off there, walk over North Shore Road, and go 2 stops to the proposed casino site. That would not only mitigate traffic to the casino, but also traffic that's going to the airport currently. Recently, a 1,900-car garage was built at Wonderland, just 2 stops from the casino site. 8 hotels, 5 in Revere, 3 in East Boston, and 1 under construction, the Hilton Garden Inn, are all on this side of the Callahan Summer Tunnels. There are 3 hotel sites in Revere ready to go. The Shaw site, directly across from the proposed casino. The Lido, which is 2 stops away from the proposed casino. And also the trailer park, which has been a burden on the city of Revere for many years, that will become a hotel if this casino license is awarded. Let me say this, Mohegan Sun has an excellent record of providing gaming, concerts, and other entertainment venues, which have resulted in revenue, jobs, and services for local businesses in the areas where they operate. Suffolk Downs, for 79 years, has provided millions and millions of dollars in tax revenue to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. In addition, countless families in East Boston, Revere, and the region, through employment at Suffolk Downs, have had the necessary income to send their children to college, purchase homes, and make life a little better. And I would add that many are still employed at Suffolk Downs. That's why it has to remain open. Suffolk Downs has not only been a good neighbor, but also has an excellent track record, if you'll excuse the pun. It's time for the Commonwealth to say thank you. To do otherwise would be defying logic. Thank you.
I've spoken before the Commission a number of times regarding the merits of the Mohegan Sun proposal and what is being done to improve transportation and infrastructure, as well as the urban design benefits of the proposal and commitment to open space and green initiatives. But today I want to talk about intangibles. You can't quantify these. You can't put a statistic on them or a rating, and they can't be analyzed or evaluated. The first time we met with the Mohegan Sun team, we told them that our urban design planning mission was to view this development as an exercise in planning that, when completed, will demonstrate how a resort casino can not only improve, but enrich the quality of life in an urban setting and enhance the economic, cultural, and social aspects of the greater Boston area. This mission has been very important to the city of Revere, as well as the region, and during the development of the host community agreement. I can tell you that Mohegan Sun has listened. And not only to the wishes of Revere, but to our neighbors in Chelsea, Winthrop, Boston, Malden, Lynn, Saugus, Salem, Medford, Cambridge, Everett, and Summerlin. I personally have learned from my experience during many meetings with the Mohegan Sun team that they are willing to go above and beyond the requirements. Not just to make this project right, but to make it acceptable to all parties. They have addressed each detail with compassion, and they have addressed all interests. Throughout every design and site plan review meeting we've had, the Mohegan Sun team has been genuine. The Mohegan Sun team has been understanding. The Mohegan Sun team has been compassionate, and above all, the Mohegan Sun team has listened. This is what has distinguished this team, professionals from all others, from my own personal experience. So really, all the elements are in place to deliver a high-quality resort casino at this site. Let's face it, the right development team is here, the history is there, the jobs are there, the infrastructure is there, the regional highway system is there, the public transit system is there, the regional local support is there, and above all, who could be a better neighbor than Revere Beach and Suffolk Downs and be minutes from Logan International Airport in downtown Boston. So when you look at it in its entirety, there is no other location in the Commonwealth that can deliver like this one. Again, thank you for coming to see Revere. And really, I thank you for the enormous time and personal sacrifice each one of you have put into this process.
Thank you, Judge McHugh, and members of the Gaming Commission. My name is John Fester, I'm Director of Economic Development in the City of Revere. I'm here once again to let you know just how important the approval of the Mohegan Sun gaming license would be to our city, and in particular to our economic vitality. My family has lived here and invested here for over 60 years. It is a city we love. It is also a city that's at a crossroad. I've seen Revere's best days, the days when thousands flock to Revere Beach during the summer months, maybe to have a hot dog at Joe and Nemo's, or a pizza at the Yankees, or have a roast beef sandwich at famous Kelly's Roast Beef. Families from near and far would wait patiently in line to ride the bumper cars, the Cavalier, the ginger wheel. Those were great days. However, just after the devastating blizzard of '78, the beach seemed to lost its way. The rides had been destroyed, maintenance of the beach went into decline as a result of state budget cuts, and water quality had suffered for many years of neglect prior to the Boston Harbor cleanup. Today, after years of decline, there is a reason for optimism. Interest in our city has never been stronger. To be clear, a lot of this interest is predicated on what happens at Suffolk Downs. That is why I'm here tonight once again to help you understand what this project will mean to our community. You see, we're not trying to turn ourselves into a tourist town. We've always been there. The days when Revere was a thriving tourist destination filled with opportunity can once become a reality. However, I am fearful that the interest and potential resurgence that I've identified maybe for not receipt Mohegan Sun has not earned my residence. Let me just cite one example. Prior to November 4th last year, a large existing hotel chain in Revere, eager for expansion, had made a proposal for an additional 110 rooms in the city. As a result of the November vote, they withdrew the proposal. They cited the reason for withdrawal as a defeat of the referendum. Obviously, they did not understand that Revere had options, nor did we, until we got final approval from the Commission and holding a second successful referendum. You may have seen the recent MNBC report that indicates that Revere offers much more in way of collateral investment opportunities. They visited Revere Beach and seen firsthand what this project could mean to Revere and our region. The opportunities that exist mean more tax revenues to the city and Commonwealth, more jobs, more investment in infrastructure and transportation. Now, I just mentioned how this will impact regional development. You may know Revere and I have always viewed this as a destination resort-style casino as a regional development project. Let me give you 2 examples. I spoke with Jay Ash, town manager of Chelsea, and he expressed to me that he has a potential $150 million commercial project and is waiting for the license experience to be signed. Second, I spoke with James Caldell, the Executive Director of Economic Development in Lynn, and he expressed to me that he has 2 multi-million-dollar developments waiting if the license is granted to Mohegan Sun. We believe that this type of partner in the regional view have earned the support of many of our neighboring cities and towns. It is this type of cooperative spirit that clearly separates us from our competition. Members of the Commission, I've seen we're closing down one track and new revenue and jobs. And one day we saw hundreds of people put out of work in a 36-acre parcel of Roman, where it continues to sit vacant 5 years later. I don't want to see this happen again. To help revitalize the Wonderland Dog Track location, our host community agreement calls for our master plan to be delivered to the city within 1 year of the license being granted. In addition, we will benefit from continued interest in development, an ongoing Wonderland TOD project, and transform an empty 9-acre piece of land formerly occupied by Shaw's Supermarket site. So in closing, I respectfully ask the members of the Commission to look favorably on the application as presented to you by Mohegan Sun. And I want you to look at all the aspects of the proposal and compare all the criteria to the competition. I'm confident you will see they are a clear choice on jobs and economic development. Thank you for your time.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Bob Hannes. I reside at 350 Revere Boulevard. I'm a city council currently. I served 8 years as mayor of this fine city. I'd just like to review a lot of the issues that we addressed in the past. First of all, jobs. Jobs. I'm not talking about the jobs. They're going to be 75% within the 25-mile radius of Revere. That's economic stimulus at its best. Grant economic development, as they spoke, reaching out to all the people who have joined Mohegan Sun in their awards program, and that's another stimulus factor. Then you look at the quick end resorts, no long-term environmental concerns. If you look at Revere, we have no major economic environmental concerns. Where if you look at the other company, they have major economic and environmental concerns. Also, all the other citizens and towns have the area to supply, you're all committed to this area. You have all of the surrounding communities, namely Everett, Revere, East Boston, and Boston, is all of them have joined the agreement to go forward with this project. And they're going to work in partnership. You're going to bring the city and state roads up to date, something the city of Revere cannot afford to do. We're talking about this will keep live racing. We're talking about live racing. If we do not get Mohegan Sun approved for this site, live racing will die. At least to guarantee it to continue for these 15 years. And I think that's a major consideration. Also, transportation is already, as was indicated before, we have 4 stations within a mile of it, 2 on the property of it. And also, we're looking at what happens now if you look at what's going on. The jobs. The best boost of the economy with Mohegan Sun are quicker end results. No economic cleanup of the environmental in Revere compared to our opponent. All surrounding communities have agreed to this. So I basically say, as the former mayor of the city council, I think it's a great opportunity for the city of Revere, for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and for the general area. I believe it's a no-brainer. I think people have to look at all facts and figures here. I mentioned a couple of things, but I didn't want to be redundant and mention a lot of things that were already said in the past. So I thank you as a lifelong resident of the city of Revere, and hopefully you can make a decision if you Revere and Mohegan Sun. Thank you.
City Manager Ash.
afternoon, Commissioners. I have spoken to the Casino Commission before, and I will reiterate today my unqualified support for the siting of a casino in Revere. However, there is one aspect of citing the casino hearing, specifically in choosing Mohegan Sun, that I did not touch on in my earlier testimony. I have had an opportunity to go with a delegation from Lynn down to Mohegan Sun in Connecticut to get a look at how the casino operates behind the scenes. And the reason why I wanted to go there was not to learn the inside secrets of the gaming industry, but to look at how the employees are treated. Because we all know that there are a lot of things that go into defining a good job. And one of those parts of that definite definition is how the employees are treated. And I can tell you, there were people with smiles on their faces everywhere I went, from the food preparers to the custodians to the people who worked in maintaining the hotel. The gentleman from upper management who was taking us through the casino and through the hotel operations knew many of these employees by name. So while it is important to bring jobs to the area, and very much so in the case of my city of Lynn, I also think it's important to bring good jobs where people are treated with dignity from the top down to the bottom. I have seen with my own eyes that Mohegan Sun does this, and I would like you to take that fact into consideration when you're deciding to whom to grant this casino license. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you. The gaming law mentions region or regional 45 times. That's significant because the Region A license should benefit more than just the host community of either Revere or Everett. It should also benefit the entire region. Since we last spoke, it has become evident that one of the two casino applicants has continued a decidedly regional approach to their potential development, while the other continues to ignore regional equity. The former is Mohegan Sun, with 12 voluntary surrounding community agreements negotiated and no arbitration petition needed to address its responsibilities and desires to have a positive impact on the greater Revere region. Mohegan easily outdistanced Wynn. Wynn has only 1/3 of the voluntary agreements Mohegan does, only 4, and Wynn chose to take the legal route to beat back the concerns of its most proximate neighbors, Boston, Somerville, and Chelsea, while Mohegan heeded those concerns and found a way to alleviate them, including Boston, Somerville, and Chelsea. For years, I have said that our communities being overrun by the potential negatives associated with casinos is not inevitable. Combating that inevitability requires a true partnership and a genuine respect between all the communities to be impacted and our casino host. I am most concerned and deeply disappointed by the refusal of Wynn to accept the obligation they have to address impacts in our region and to ensure that the development is at least a neutral, if not a positive, in surrounding communities. Conversely, as evident by the sheer number of surrounding community agreements Mohegan Sun was able to negotiate, it is obvious to me who was looking out for surrounding communities, namely Mohegan Sun. And who could care less about surrounding communities, and I truly believe that is Wynn. As you've heard me say before, if we and I can't get Wynn now to want to be cooperative with us when arguably we need it the most, then what shot do we have collectively when they are awarded a license and need nothing from us? And let's not agree to allow lip service of the support of the region to be acceptable evidence when it is so much more easily quantifiable by the financial commitment each proponent is making to its surrounding communities. I would respectfully suggest that evidence is these following numbers that should absolutely guide your decision making. Mohegan Sun has committed $25 million annually in payments to surrounding communities to mitigate potential impacts and ensure that our communities are positioned to grow along with its operation. $25 million compared to just $3.5 million by Wynn. $25 million versus $3.4 million. In today's dollars, that's $325 million less
for surrounding communities if you are to accept the Wynn proposal. I say today's dollars because the gap is even wider when you consider that in what can only be interpreted as an act to punish those who were not as supportive of the Wynn proposal. The Wynn arbitration proposals did not include inflation adjustments, while the Mohegan Sun voluntary agreements do so. So the $325 million gap is going to work out to be significantly more, all at the expense of those surrounding communities that have been ignored by Wynn while championed by Mohegan. I'm for Mohegan because their core business is here in New England, and they've been part of us for 400 years. I'm for Mohegan because Mitchell Edis thought it important enough to visit my office to talk about how we can promote the region's vitality instead of sending the lawyers. I'm for Mohegan because they'll be located in a place that's been the center of regional economy for 75 years and not a toxic wasteland. So I would ask you to support Mohegan Sun. The region supports them, and we hope you will as well. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Kate Fox, and I'm the Executive Director of the Office of Tourism and Cultural Affairs in Salem, Massachusetts. I'm also on the Board of Directors of the North of Boston Convention and Visitors Bureau. But today I am here on behalf of Mayor Kim Driscoll, and I'd like to submit her remarks as she is unable to attend. Mayor Driscoll submits, dear members of the Commission, I would like to express my support for the proposed resort casino to be located in the city of Revere at the current Suffolk Downs site. Salem is located just a few miles north of the proposed location, and I look forward to collaborating with officials from Mohegan Sun and Suffolk Downs, as well as my colleagues in the city of Revere, on areas of shared concern, specifically the economic opportunities this developer would provide to our region. The new jobs that will come from the proposed resort casino will help many people in the construction industry here on the North Shore who have suffered higher unemployment over the last economic recession than many other types of workers. In addition, once up and running, the proposed development will create many new, permanent, and stable jobs with good benefits for residents of our region. Finally, we anticipate the proposed casino development will have a positive impact on the growth of our own local tourism and hospitality industry. Clearly, a multi-million-dollar expenditure to improve the area of Revere will be a boost for the entire North Shore region. I support the efforts to appropriately redevelop this site and know that it will provide extensive benefits to our local economy, increase job opportunities, and enhance the growth of our hospitality, travel, and tourism industries. Very truly yours, Kim Driscoll, Mayor of the City of Salem. And as the Director of Destination Sales, I couldn't agree more. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioner. My name is Patricia Gentili, and I'm the president at North Shore Community College with a campus in nearby Maine. I have the pleasure of testifying before your committee on behalf of the statewide community colleges in June. At that time, I explained that I started with North Shore in January of 2014. But prior to that, I was the dean at Atlantic Cape Community College in southern New Jersey, who oversaw the Casino Career Institute, as well as other responsibilities. In that position, I worked closely for 14 years in partnership with all the casino and hotel resort properties in Atlantic City. During my tenure with Atlantic Cape, I traveled extensively to many new gaming venues to help higher public education, gaming commissions, enforcement agencies, and other entities with education programs geared to the gaming industry, including domestic and international partnerships. One of the public community colleges I had the pleasure of helping was Three Rivers Community College in Connecticut, with its education program in collaboration with Mohegan Tribal Nation's Mohegan Sun Resort. It was through that work that I first got to know human resources, executives, culture, and educational interests of both the tribe and the casino and hotel operations. Then, in the fall of 2012, Resorts Atlantic City partnered in a management operations agreement with Mohegan Sun, who became the first Indian-owned casino operator to enter the Atlantic City market. Due to the positive relationships already established by Atlantic City Community College, the new management quickly became a collaborative education and training partner in the Atlantic City Casino Consortium that my community college had established in 1992 and which continues to bring education and training services to both potential and incumbent gaming and hospitality workers. As Mohegan Sun looks to establish a presence in eastern Massachusetts due to its positive past collaborative agreements with public community colleges, I look forward to a strong public-private endeavor to ensure that area residents are given opportunities to get the training and education needed to take the thousands of jobs that would be created with the casino resort in Revere. Thank you for the opportunity to address the Massachusetts Gaming Commission on the Mohegan Sun project.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Vincent Ragucci Jr. And as an Everettite, I want to tell the people of Revere, especially the mayor, of our condolences for the loss of one of your people last night in the fire. And also, we hope for a speedy recovery from your tornado and the damage that it did to your city. I hope the correctness happens as quickly as the tornado went through. Think about this for a minute. Everett and Revere look like we're preparing for a World War III. Many of the people here remember the great football team and football games that were played between Everett and Revere for many, many, many years. Thanks to the MIAA, that doesn't happen any longer. I personally have attended almost every hearing and have been involved with Everett United for over 2+ years. The point is that every single meeting, somebody is there from the WIN group. They explain to us every piece of business, everything that's happening, so that the entire group knows exactly what's going on. When we attend hearings, it's not personal against the people of Revere. It's against Mohegan Sun and the people at Mohegan Sun for not telling the people of Revere everything that they should know about the agreements that have been signed. I'm a former retired banker. And in my banking career, hedge funds were the last place you went for finance because of the extreme high payments that have to be paid to those funds. Just as important, Mohegan Sun has set up a number of individual corporations. So what happens is if the corporation hits a break-even point, and there's no place other than from gambling profits for the hedge fund to take its income from, guess what? The cities and towns that have all of these great, according to what some of the speakers have said, have these agreements, are not going to get paid. That includes the city of Boston. Those are the important things that I wish and I hope that the commissioners review. When is going to build a 5-star hotel?
No, just a minute. We're here to listen to everybody who has something to say. So let's do that, please. Mr. Rudy, go ahead.
Thank you. When is going to build a 5-star resort? Mohegan Sun is going to build a 3-star resort. At the same time, it's $100, almost $200 billion commitment. Profits from win are guaranteed. Money will come into the cities and towns for the duration that they are in business in this state. So commissioners, I hope you take all of that into consideration.
Thank you, sir. Jay Campbell is the next speaker, to be followed by Jim Buckley. Mr. Campbell.
Hi, thank you very much for allowing me to speak here tonight. My name is Jay Campbell. I work in Charlestown. I live in Medford. I'm one of those poor people that are going to be stuck in traffic if one builds a casino. That's the state of thought process. I've spoken to the commission before. I actually think Wynn is a better hotel, a better development than what we can sign. And I really never plan on speaking here after the commission. And one of the reasons, there's a whole bunch of reasons why, but I just believe that it's better. But I never plan on speaking at the commission here until I heard a week ago or 2 weeks ago about the financial reports and how Wynn did and how Mohegan did. I've never been to the Wynn Casino, I've been to Mohegan Sun Casino. I never really thought much about it until I started looking into it. And I was really alarmed when I started to research it and surprised for a whole bunch of reasons. The bigger surprise to me was Revere, the 60% owner with the capital, looking into the developments that they're involved from, which is now being shut down, they're being sued, and they have stock shares. Out of Las Vegas, they attempted to do the same type of thing they're trying to do here. They were one of the financial backers of a resort out of Las Vegas that never was built. And I looked at the court records because they just won an appeal, now they're going back to sue. There's 44 venture funds involved with this lawsuit. So I asked myself, how many people are going to own this project? Mohegan's doing something I think that makes sense. In New York, they're hoping to get one of the licenses to build in upstate New York, and they're doing a 50-50 ownership with the landlord, with the owner, with the developer. Here you have an owner that won't do anything for the development, and the people who are going to be running it are minority owner. They only own, I believe, 40%. 30-40%. You have the 60% owner, which is a venture capital firm, which, I mean, one of the ones that they are involved with have just been downgraded by Moody's. So basically, they're not returning any of their financials. At least that was the last thing Moody's had reported in 2012. There's all these red flags to me. I don't understand how it's going to work. I don't understand from reading one of the articles saying that Mohegan in Boston will have nothing to do with Mohegan in Connecticut. They won't be allowed to advertise and promote in Revere. Does that mean they can't have any advertisements? If you go to the North End, you'll see displays, billboards on some of the different items saying we're closer than you think, we're only 90 minutes away. Springfield is 90 minutes away. It just doesn't make sense. The Fitch ratings, Moody's are all talked about down ratings in the casinos because of regional. The Wynn Casino brings in international plus being a local. I just think there's a lot of questions, a lot of things that, to me, just don't make sense. And one of the biggest things that didn't make sense was, you probably know about this group, keep Vegas-style casinos out of neighborhoods. That's in the state of California. They put on a proposal right now that they want to say that any Indian owners, private owners, have to stay on their reservation. They cannot build casinos outside of the reservation. That's what Mohegan Sun wants to do. This group is funded by Great Capital. They're spending over $1 million on this initiative. Over $1 million on a statewide ballot that they got on there to say that casinos should be neighborhoods, which this one is, and it should be run by private organizations, which this one will be. So I just think all the way around, it just doesn't make sense. So I just want to thank you. I'll leave with that, and I just want to leave my mind with somebody that shows the stuff that I pulled up on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Buckley, Mr. Jim Buckley, and John Tegliano will be the next speaker. Mr. Buckley.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you to the Commission for allowing me the time to speak this evening. My name is Jim Buckley, and I'm a lifelong resident of East Boston. My grandmother was born and raised on Main Street. She married my grandfather and built a home on Ashley Street, where they still reside today. And my mother is My roots are strongly entrenched in this community. I grew up playing Pop Warner at East Boston State, baseball at Noyes Park, and basketball at the Orange Heights Community Center. As an adult, I'm active in the community as a board member for 2 separate East Boston organizations, and in my personal work as a financial services professional, my business runs almost over 30% through clients that have ties to East Boston. For these reasons and many more, I'm very passionate about East Boston and about the North Shore community. And just like every other person who's passionate about a cause or community, they have both pros and cons when discussing that passion. The pros to me are the community atmosphere, the close-knit environment, and the neighbor-type mentality where people are always willing to help others before themselves. Cons to living and working in this community are mostly based around infrastructure. The schools need work, and in turn bring young families who love it here, move to the suburbs for better school districts. The public fields, such as Noyes Park, where I played as a kid, are neglected due to budget cuts and are now unattractive to kids who want to play sports at the park. And of course, everyone here can tell you that traffic is terrible. Whether it is in the morning when you sit on Boardman Street as a cop lets 5 cars at a time through a light, only to turn back to red. Or whether it is in the evening as you sit in traffic out of the tunnel, dreaming of a 4-lane highway on a 2-lane street. Well, thanks to the partnership with Mohegan Sun and Suffolk Downs, we have found our solution. You want to fix the traffic problem? How about $45 million in road improvements, including an overpass to relieve that cop and his 5-car rule at Boardman Street? How about additional lanes alleviating the backup in the tunnels? I would vote yes to that. Need to improve the school system? How about $18 million directly towards educational programs and process improvements, including job training for school staff? And how about an additional $30 million to improve the infrastructure of the Umana Middle School, along with building a brand new youth center for the kids to go during the winter, and remaking Noyes Park for the kids to play in the summer? I would also vote yes to that. In college, I studied as an economics major, where I learned the difference between micro versus macroeconomics. At a micro level, sure, there are cons to a casino, as there are in any business. But at the macro level, there are cons to not getting this casino. Without this license, Suffolk Downs, a staple in our community, and an economic engine for jobs could close. Not only will 4,000 jobs not be created, but 2,000 jobs could be lost. That's 6,000 families affected negatively by this decision. Without our license, our schools continue to age, the parks will rot away, and yes, traffic will still suffer. Over the last decade, the city has grown in pockets. First in the explosion of Somerville, biotech companies, and young professionals. Then it was Charlestown, the renewed vigor at the Navy Yard, and most recently it's been South Boston, in the Seaport District, was completely redone. Well, now it's East Boston's time to shine. The harbor front is ready to be built on, the ferries are adding their stops, Orient Heights T stop has been overhauled, and the signature business of East Boston, Suffolk Downs, is bringing a casino to this great city. And I would vote yes to that. Thank you.
Many benefits for the proposal for the senior community from the standpoint of town of Winthrop, we would benefit enormously from a very generous non-community agreement that the government would agree to $2 million a year to my town. It would be enormous economic benefit to our town, which has been somewhat stagnant economically. Another issue, for example, that very well covered by the American Institute of Architects in Bill Letter 3. And I happen to see the Washington Journal article that referenced this issue. This is a major issue for those of us who live around here who will be looking at this structure for some time. And the assessment of the American Institute of Architects, when they did their comparative analysis of the Mohegan Sun design proposal versus that of the Wind proposal, speaks for itself. It's basically night and day. The Wind proposal simply what was actually recommended by the American Institute of Architects to be dismissed and to be urging Wind to start out all over again because it was such it is a bad design, and I would concur with that. And I think that's an important consideration for all of us who live in this region, because again, our decision will be a decision that affects the entire region, the city of Revere. Also, by the way, I've been involved in the transportation project for a long time. I was a member of the Massachusetts Port Authority for 14 years, on board for I'm probably familiar with the transportation issues in this area. I'm completely convinced that the transportation proposals that Mohegan Sun has put on the table as part of their proposal will completely solve any of the issues that are attendant on their proposed casino. In fact, will actually do it a step further and actually lead in the never existing transportation model that have not been able to be resolved through the standard public sector funding sources. So with that, again, I urge you to approve as soon as possible completely the Mohegan Sun proposal for the year. Thank you.
Thank you. The next to speak is David Coombs. If you come to the on deck here, Mr. Morris.
Thank you for letting me speak before you. First of all, I want to thank Mayor Dan Rizzo right here, who did a terrific job when we had I want to thank Mr. Donnie Goodwin from Public Works, who helped clean up the city in 2 or 3 days when some towns take fun. I want to thank the fire department that came down to our senior center to shut off the gas because I was there when the tornado hit. I also want to thank Chief Caffarelli and the police who did a beautiful job coordinating it. But most of all, Mayor Dan Rizzo set up a fund to help the people that lost their homes. Some people lost their businesses and they lost their jobs. So he's helping to make a contribution to that. But you people can make the best donation in the city of Revere by giving us the casino. Peter Schultz, Chip Tuttle, they made a donation to the tornado fund. Nobody asked them to do it. They did it because they did community service and not upselling. Also, I heard people talk about Edward making a 5-star hotel and Mohegan 3-star hotel. When I looked at this book, and I looked at the pictures of this hotel, to me it looks like a 10-star hotel. Also, I would like to say, unless I'm wrong on this one, Everett is going to donate $50,000 to businesses, or he can send $10 million. That's a 200-to-1 ratio, my friend. So for $1, you're going to make 200, and that's what the city of Revere is going to do. You're going to get that this year. Also, before we even go ahead with Everett, we have 850 plus jobs now, not tomorrow, but now. And these people at the Suffolk Downs, with Chip Tuttle in charge, have done a fabulous job. They've hired veterans, and that's what we need, more jobs, more veterans to do it. So I hope they take care of it. And last but not least, I happen to be a senior. I was there during the tornado when it was hit. We lost a lot of things at the senior center. And when the casino comes in, the first thing they said to us, they would help us. So they do give us community service and not lip service, like I always say. So I just want to repeat to you again, the Gaming Commission, when you vote, make sure you vote for the city of Revere because we are way ahead of every city in Massachusetts to have the casino here. You've heard the pros and the cons, and I hope these people that win the casino get themselves a big hand for coming. I would like to know, what happens if there's a 2-2 vote? How does that work out?
Coincidentally, our plant in Boston is at 30 New Market Square, which is the main area for wholesale food distributors in the Boston area from in the state. We're active members of the New Market Business Association, which represents us and all our neighbors, including those in the credit meat and poultry businesses. But I have to say, Mohegan has made a solid effort to reach out to the members of the association to talk about what they buy and also the plans to source locally. Hopefully, if this project comes to fruition, it will lead to good, solid business for a lot of local companies. I support Mohegan in their efforts to obtain a license. Thank you for your time.
Finally, I plan on remaining in East Boston for the rest of my life, and I feel that the surrounding community agreement will only make East Boston a better place to live than it already is today. Thank you.
My name is Father John Mazzaro, and I am the Executive Director of the East Boys and Girls Club. We service young people from East Boston, Revere, and Winthrop, and I welcome the opportunity to speak publicly this afternoon to publicly affirm Mrs. Fields and Mr. Chip Tuttle for their association with our Boys and Girls Club for over 7 years, sponsoring our scholarship dinner. In June, we have a scholarship dinner to help needy kids. I just left 200 kids at our camp that we have. Over half of them benefited from that scholarship dinner that is hosted by Suffolk Downs, and this past year, Mohegan Sun helped as well. It's very important to know that the young people
helped. And I don't think anyone here would disagree with that. I feel in my heart that the association we've had with Suffolk Downs and with Mohegan Sun will help us impact more young people that we serve at the Salesian Boys and Girls Club. I feel that it's important for everyone to know that the most precious gift we have is our young people. And our young people need help. Each morning when I get up in the morning, I say the same prayer. Each time I say Mass, I say the same prayer. I pray that young people may be the sign of hope and future for a better world that we have. And I pray for the young people who run away from home, those who have succumbed to the allurements of substance abuse, that the love and mercy of God may help them, or a positive example like we have at the Salesian Boys and Girls Club will help them to be recovered, productive, and wonderful citizens in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, members of Bishop Shiptell from the surrounding community of Salem. And thank you, Father John, for your kind words. Commissioners, thanks very much for the chance to address you again and for your diligence and your patience, especially your patience throughout this process. When it began, I didn't need these glasses to read my remarks. While I've had the privilege in the past of addressing you as an applicant, today I'm here representing the people that you oversee as the regulators of thoroughbred racing in Massachusetts, honoring your request that we restrict our remarks today to events since June 24th. I want to talk specifically about Suffolk Downs' agreement with the City of Boston, its recent agreement with Boston, and what that means for the future. Our separate agreement with Boston was signed the week of July 7th, the same week that Suffolk Downs turned 79, and the same week that Mohegan Sun and Boston finalized the generous surrounding community agreement. As you know, Mohegan Sun is leasing 40 acres of our property in Revere. Our agreement with Boston requires that we, Suffolk Downs, master plan the Boston side of the property with the city in ways that complement Mohegan Sun's development. But most important, the agreement provides a legal requirement for us to race for at least the initial 15-year term of the Region A gaming license, should that license be awarded to Mohegan Sun. The agreement legally requires us to live up to the public pledge that we made to you in January to preserve and enhance Suffolk Downs' 79-year legacy as one of the area's sporting and entertainment venues. And we were happy to include that language in our agreement with Boston because it's consistent with our vision for the future of our facility. A better customer experience, acres of open space, more parkland with paddocks where people can get up close and appreciate the horses, and more than a racing and simulcast facility, a multi-use equestrian and recreational facility, and a community resource, a venue for special events, entertainment, and charitable causes, perhaps the host to the equestrian games in the 2024 Boston Olympics. Over the last few months, and again, I'm sure you'll hear from people tonight, several members of the diverse working group of people whose livelihoods depend upon the future of Suffolk Downs. You heard from Mary Ann Wright at one of your hearings, a mutual clerk, worried about where she turns if her job and health benefits go away. You heard from young Janelle Campbell, who wants to follow in the footsteps of her aunt, Tammy Pamarini, one of the leading riders in the country, wants to do it here, not in Pennsylvania or Florida. You've heard from some of the most pie-eyed, optimistic people in the world, Massachusetts thoroughbred breeders, who just keep going, whose businesses support family farms and a way of life, and who watch as their contemporaries in neighboring states thrive with proceeds from expanded gaming while they struggle for one more year. People ask me all the time, what happens to Suffolk Downs if Mohegan Sun does not earn this license? Unfortunately, the area will lose part of its history. It may take a few years, but the track will be developed. It sits on 160 acres on 2 MBTA stations and a regional highway minutes from an international airport in downtown Boston. Our owners will be fine. I'll be fine. I'm fortunate to have other business interests. But what about Marion Wright and about Janelle Campbell? What happens to Lorenzo and Abel Juarez, brothers, stable hands for our leading trainer, Jay Bernardini? One a recent U.S. citizen, the other going through the process, trying to make better lives for their families. What happens to the hundreds of other people like them? What happens to George Brown's farm in Rehoboth and the dozens of others like it throughout the Commonwealth?
All right. Thank you, Mr. Stokes. Thank you very much.
We appreciate your consideration for this issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners, for allowing us this forum to speak in support of the Mohegan Sun proposed casino in Revere. This is Mary Reed, my mom. We represent Hart Daycare Center. Hart Daycare Center is a multi-generational family business spanning 6 decades. Established in 1946, Hart remains 100% minority-owned and 100% family-owned. We are one of Boston's oldest minority and women-owned businesses. Target is a dual opportunity employer with over 40 full and part-time employees, and we operate out of 2 Boston locations. The reason we support Mohegan Sun bid for the proposed Revere Casino is because we believe that Mohegan Sun has a sincere commitment to providing quality child care for their employees. Positive and thoughtful conversations we have had with Mohegan Sun's team regarding child care have demonstrated to us that they understand that staff morale and retention are just a few of the many benefits of having on-site child care for their employees. Mohegan Sun recognizes that employees will appreciate the peace of mind of on-site child care provides. Children will be within walking distance of employees' workplace and are attending a curriculum-based early learning program with a proven track record of excellence. My mom, Mary Lee, will be finishing the comment.
Let me just extend my thanks to all of you for allowing us to be here. Charge, as my daughter has said, has established a reputation as one of Boston's premier brands in high-quality early childhood education. We do not advertise, we rely solely on word of mouth. And yet, Mohegan Sun approached us, proving that they have a careful consideration, they have given careful consideration to their commitment to diversity and, more importantly, to high quality for the choice of vendor. So I have a question. What is the value of a partnership with Mohegan Sun? Well, Mohegan Sun shares TART's vision of excellence in child care for their employees, and Mohegan has a proven track record of excellence in service for their patrons. Thank you again for the opportunity to voice our support for Mohegan. We're excited about the possibilities they offer, their reception, and the value they will bring to Revere and Massachusetts as a whole. Thank you very much.
Thank the four of you for coming to Revere. My name is Richard Feinberg, and I live in Swansea. And for those that don't know, that's about 7 or 8 miles down the road. My wife and I are both retired school teachers, and I teach U.S. government and politics at Buckley Hill Community College as an adjunct. And if you're nice to me, at the end of my brief presentation, I will tell you who will be the next president in 2016. First, let me tell you that my wife and I are a quintessential small gambler. We like to go to casinos and we play a game called 2-4 Hold'em Poker. Not the big game you see on television, just a small game where we'll sit for 3 or 4 hours, maybe win 100, maybe lose 100, but I assure you we won't spend the family grocery money. I would also like to tell you that I've been to a lot of casinos in my life, and there are none better than Mohegan Sun Convention. They are impeccably clean, but more importantly than that, I think of the mullahs when I think of the employees. They love their job, they love their bosses, and they are the type of people that make it a pleasure to go there. Whether you're handicapped, my wife sometimes has to be pushed around in a wheelchair, whether you're a senior citizen, they can't do enough to make sure that you have a good time. Now, I'm just going to say quickly, I don't know Mayor Rizzo, but I have watched him during this debate for gaming. I don't think you could find a better spokesman for his city. I've never met Mayor Rizzo, and I've only seen him on television a few times, but he's really made a good, classy presentation for his city of Revere, which will benefit the North Shore and the entire state. And I think that if Mohegan Sun runs like they do in Connecticut, and I'm sure Mayor Rizzo will make sure they do, he's got a lot at stake here, I think we've got a #1 facility. I would like to tell you that the next president in 2016 will be a woman. It will be a woman whose husband was already president. It will not be Eleanor Roosevelt.
Commissioners Cameron, Zuniga, Stebbins, and McHugh, thank you for allowing me to address you once again today. My name is Louis Charlone, and I live at 410 Park Avenue in Revere. I am currently a business agent for IBEW Local 103. The union that represents the vast majority of the unionized workforce of Suffolk Downs. I worked at Suffolk Downs as a mutual clerk for over 22 years and was previously elected as their spokesperson by my fellow employees for 12 years. I would first like to commend Mohegan Sun, Suffolk Downs, and the City of Boston for a thorough, fair, and generous surrounding community agreement. By placing the guarantee of live thoroughbred racing into that agreement, the three parties have reinforced the original letter of commitment that Suffolk Downs gave to the Commission. There can now be no doubt that racing will continue at Suffolk Downs well into the future if Mohegan Sun is granted the Region A license. The members I represent and my people are thankful or happy by the placement of this provision into the Boston Agreement. This will probably be the last time I will be able to address this commission before you make your final decision on the Region A application. I speak for the hundreds of workers at Suffolk Downs, workers with good jobs and benefits, workers who perform their jobs with dignity and confidence for decades, workers who can point to family ties with Suffolk Downs that date back more than a half a century, workers who are bonded as a family, workers who have grown up in the thoroughbred racing industry. Suffolk Downs has little to no employee turnover. Many of the full-time workers who work at Suffolk Downs have worked there as their only job from the time they were 18 years old. I'm talking about a family of workers, a generation of workers, workers who respect the company and a company that respects them. Not much unlike our brothers and sisters at Wonderland a few short years ago. I was there that fateful day when similar bonds that I have described to you were dissolved and broken by a ballot question. I watched as Representative Reinstein and the Wonderland workers cried when those doors were shut. Hardly any of the workers at Wonderland could find a job that duplicated the good union jobs that they lost. I resent the fact that some of our detractors can cavalierly dismiss these good jobs at Suffolk Downs and in the racing industry as routinely as throwing out a pair of old shoes. These are jobs performed by people who are the salt of the earth. Musical work, bartenders, waitresses and waiters, assistant starters and valets, program sellers, money counters, cooks, cleaners, dishwashers, equipment operators, laborers, plumbers and electricians, carpenters, workers in feed granaries and breeding farms, owners, trainers, jockeys, exercise riders and grooms are some of the many jobs performed by hard-working men and women who are dependent on the thoroughbred industry to provide a living wage for their middle-class families. If Mohegan Sun doesn't win this license, or if there is no casino on Suffolk property because our opponents repealed the gaming law, all these people will lose their jobs, and the result will be tenfold worse than it was for our brothers and sisters at Wonderland. I respect the work that the Commission has done and the fact that this decision is a heavy burden on each of you. I want to leave you with this last thought. Hundreds, maybe even thousands, of some of the most decent, hard-working, and caring people you would ever want to meet plead with you to save their jobs and the industry they love when you make your final decision.
To both the city of Revere and the greater surrounding community. That operator is clearly Mohegan Sun. In their host agreement, they have not only protected the businesses of Revere, but also the thousands of other businesses in the area. By creating the 15-mile line radius for a large number of Mohegan Sun have been proactive and forthcoming in reaching out to the local businesses, even doing preliminary meet and greets with their purchasing people. The other casino applicant has been non-existent and non-caring. Why should we trust Mohegan Sun? I'll get a little personal here. I grew up about 5 miles from Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. My high school is less than a football field away from it. I know a lot of people who are their employees. I know a lot of people who live in the surrounding communities, and all they talk about is not only the economic impact of Mohegan Sun, but the intangibles, such as their contributions to local schools, to organizations, and to personal involvement in the area. Speaking for the 235 members of the Newmarket Business Association, I very, very much hope that you will vote in favor of Mohegan Sun. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you for once again allowing me to speak before you today. As a lifelong resident of East Boston, I stand before you today in full support of Mohegan Sun's plan for a resort casino in Revere, Massachusetts. Since I last spoke here, Mohegan Sun has entered into a surrounding community agreement with Mayor Walsh of the City of Boston. This is amazing news. This proves that Mohegan Sun and our new mayor listen to the residents of East Boston and together work hard to reach an agreement that compensates East Boston and provides us with things such as a new youth center, a senior center, and major road improvements. This speaks volumes to Mohegan Sun's commitment to Revere, all the surrounding communities, and the Commonwealth as a whole. No other applicant has made an effort or shown any interest in making such commitments. Mohegan has done everything to ensure that a resort casino in Revere would be an overwhelming success, and that cost raising will continue for a minimum of 15 years, and once again thrive in the state of Massachusetts. Mohegan Sun and Suffolk Downs are the perfect combination, and together will be a huge success story. Throughout this process, I have come to meet some of the most amazing people at Suffolk Downs. I have learned so much from them and their stories about their employer that they respect so much, and the horse racing industry in which they have dedicated their entire lives. They are a family. Not often do you see employees stand up for a company and remain so loyal. Recently, we have seen this with Market Basket. When the media first broke the news about the situation at Market Basket, I immediately thought of the employees at Suffolk Downs, who too are fighting to keep their jobs and stand with an employer who has treated them so well. They will fight till the end to keep horse racing alive in Massachusetts, and this plan will have overwhelming support. You can see that in this room today, as well as all the other prior hearings. There is little opposition to this plan. The opposition has been limited to a handful of folks that attend each meeting and talk about a no vote in November in East Boston. What they fail to mention is that thousands of East Boston residents voted yes on November 5th. And today, still standing in support of the project in Revere. In fact, many of the people who voted no have now changed their position. When Mohegan announced their plan, many East residents expressed that if Mohegan Sun was the gaming partner on November 5th, they surely would have voted yes, which proves that no votes were due to the fact that the gaming partner, that many no votes were due to the fact that the gaming partner was unclear, but not that East Boston residents were opposed to a casino. East Boston residents have renewed faith that although the casino will not be in East Boston, Mohegan Sun and Mayor Walsh have made certain that East Boston will be compensated for any negative impacts this project could bring while keeping its neighbor and friend for 78 years in business. Thank you to all my friends at Suffolk Downs for fighting for what you believe in, to Mohegan Sun, Mayor Rizzo, and Mayor Walsh for listening to the residents of Revere and East Boston. Thank you.
Good evening, Commission. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak here tonight. My name is Joe Tedesca. I'm a lifelong resident of East Boston. I've spoken in front of you numerous occasions in the past on behalf of Suffolk Downs and Wade and Son. I have been in support of this project when it was initially proposed in East Boston, and have stood 100% behind my neighbors in Revere since the November 5th election. The people in Revere have spoken twice, and both times they said yes. They want this, they need this. My hometown of East Boston also needs it. Recently, Mohegan Sun and the City of Boston reached a surrounding community agreement, the richest of the time. And I commend our Mayor, Marty Walsh, and Mohegan Sun for working hard and coming up with such a generous agreement. This agreement includes $45 million in road improvements, $5 million spent in goods and services to East Boston local businesses, funding for first-time homebuyers, funding for public services and addiction, a state-of-the-art youth and senior center, improvements to the Mount School, improvements to the Noise Park, and improvements to the Preston Park, which is especially meaningful to me in my opinion because that park is named after my grandfather, the late Senator Michael Preston Sr. These are just a few things that I mentioned, but they're all things that East Boston desperately needs to help our community. I'll say it here, and I'll say it now. Without this project, none of the things that I mentioned will happen. No other project will have the benefits that Mohegan Sun is offering right now. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. The jobs, the saving of the racetrack, the commitment that Mohegan Sun has shown this entire region is the reason why I believe Mohegan Sun is not the only choice, not the best choice, but the only choice. Thank you for your time.
Before you start, I really want to thank you for these, because I think these have really brought us together, and I don't feel like we've been this much like Revere in a really long time. So I want to thank you for this. This brings us together. Members of the Commission, all saying needs two things: the best site and truly understanding what we're asking for and if we can handle it. We handled it for 100 years with the Cyclone, Bluebeard's Palace, and Walt Disney's Inspiration Wonderland Park. But then the jumbo jets took the crowds away. We're haunted by the ghosts of those roller coasters. Proud cities like Lowell, Brockton, New Bedford never had second chances with industries they were built around. We do. It's unprecedented. We're the only ones around who have done this kind of thing before, and it's legendary. We've been dying to do this again. This is the fight of our lives. We're not fighting alone. New friends like Kathleen Orlando, Anthony Chanka, Joe Tedesca, and the Suffolk Downs' own poet laureate, Kathy Wyatt, stood up like neighbors we've known all our lives who all know how to properly pronounce Revere. We know saving Suffolk Downs isn't, please, I'm not going to finish. Please, we know Suffolk Downs isn't, saving Suffolk Downs alone isn't reason enough to vote for us. Accessibility, growth potential, surrounding attractions, community, and businesses is. But we keep saying save Suffolk Downs and 800 jobs because it doesn't seem like 2 + 2 = 4 anymore. But we know how they can guarantee staying open for 15 years, a $1.5 billion casino paying you rent. I didn't go to Harvard. I went to Mr. Bly's math class down the hall, and I did that one in my head. Well, they're just 4,000 chambermaid jobs. We're not building the Tower of Babel. That hearing's tomorrow night. Like any big company, there's jobs in every field, and we're the first 800 draft picks. I want one. I'm a veteran with a bachelor's degree and 2 Canadian nickels in my pocket because the Coinstar machine, Stop and Shop, won't take them. We need jobs that are dignified and not degrading. We need these jobs. We know the casino's main traffic is Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, after rush hour. It's not a Justin Bieber concert every night. We also know who's going to give us millions of dollars to fix places like Boardman and Curtis Street if we don't get it. Nobody. We know there won't be crime waves, chaos, or evil circus clowns running loose in the streets. Because cities like ours with casinos, Bangor, Maine, and Philly, no increase in crime, a decrease in drug crimes and burglaries, because more police are on the streets. Police like my uncle Kenny Foley, who kicked the Hells Angels off the beach in the 70s, or Chief Caffarelli, who drags terrorists out of
left boats in Watertown. We know safe and clean is best for business and best for us. No casino, Suffolk Downs is closed and bulldozed. And once we remove all those human chains of protesters, the historic bonds will go too. And whatever takes its place, it will be more problems, more abandoned shopping carts on Winter Path, and a whole lot of nothing we can do about it. Boston papers never compared both sites, or this would have been over a long time ago. The Herald loved Mr. Wynn because of his Rex Ryan, Bobby Valentine way with words. And if it isn't about Giselle, the Globe isn't interested. So I walked that half a mile from Sullivan Square, past the Water Commission, the bus yard. The only place I found with food was at the very end, a gas station with a Snickers bar and a Gatorade. But I had to take it outside because there was no place to sit. A women with heels with shopping bags supposed to walk all that way. Every problem that they have, they want to fix it with duct tape and sheetrock screws. Our track and our beach are the perfect spots because they were picked out 80 and 140 years ago. Theirs is in Mechanics Row on a street known as Chemical Lane. This is a resort. That is the last resort. Thank you.
before you, but the third. So for the record, I'm a longtime resident of Revere and support the Mohegan Sun and Suffolk Downs Resort. I have spoken in the past about things like the benefits I see for the families here in Revere, such as $1 million a year to our schools, a new rec center, a new high school to be built, and of course saving the jobs at Suffolk Downs. I spoke about how we are feeling as a community and how throughout this process we really have worked as a team. I've spoken about how badly we need the jobs and the revenue. And of course, I've said over and over again how much we back our mayor, a man whom has the city's best interest at heart. So I said to myself, what else can I really say? Well, one thing I can still say, and I don't mind repeating, is this. We still need the jobs. We still need the revenue, and we still need a yes to the Mohegan Sun license for Suffolk Downs. With that said, I did in fact think of something else to say today, and I'd like to share with you a bit of a personal journey through this. When I first heard in the news that a proposal was going in front of the legislation to expand the gaming law, I was intrigued. When Governor DeVal Patrick signed it into law, I said to myself, well, finally some money that has been leaving the state on a daily basis will now become a possibility of staying in ours. When Revere's Boston became one of the candidates, I was thrilled. I started to get more involved. I attended one of the many informational gatherings that Chip Tell and his team put together. I was astonished at how much was at stake for Revere, and so I made it my personal mission to get out there and spread the word, and help in any way I could. I held gatherings with moms and friends throughout the city to make sure they understood that this is a good thing for Revere, and not to listen to the false notions that casinos are bad, instead to tell them that this is once in a lifetime opportunity and that we should not let it pass by. When it came to voting time, I phoned Danes, held signs, and may I add, in the cold, gave out bumper stickers and pins, put signs on my lawn with the words, vote yes. And I did this all with great pride because I love my city. When East Boston voted it down, I was personally very sad, but I didn't lose hope. When the Mass Gaming Commission found a legal way for us to retake the vote, I was elated. And so once again, I did everything I did the first time around, only stronger, harder, and with more hours put into it. And boy, did it pay off with the landslide win. One minute, page just got messed up here, I'm so sorry. So, I really didn't know anybody that worked at Suffolk Downs, but throughout this, I have met them through either gatherings or sign openings, and it made it even sweeter to get on board for them. One thing that is consistently on their minds is, are they going to have their jobs if the license is not issued? Well, it has been out there that if we are not granted the license, that indeed their jobs are at stake. I can't even imagine over 800 people filing for unemployment. It's just mind-boggling to me. So this is only a bit of my personal journey. There is much more, but I only have 4 minutes. But I do want to say that if you take a look around this auditorium today, the support is incredible. And each and every one of us have a personal journey to tell. It may be similar to mine, and maybe even different. But regardless, one thing is that we all have in common, and that has kept us stick together, and these are the following. We want this, we put in our time, we don't want to vote again, and we need a unanimous yes from the Mass Gaming Commission on September 12th. I thank you for your time, and I hope the next time we meet is at the groundbreaking at Suffolk Downs. Thank you.
Thank you once again for giving me this great opportunity to appear before you and speak on behalf of the Revere Chamber of Commerce, as well as myself, my family, the community of Revere, and I really do appreciate this opportunity. You know, I have spoken many times. Most of that time I've talked about the business development opportunities that we in Revere will have and our surrounding businesses as well. But tonight I do stand here to realize that I'm standing in place of where my father, his 5 brothers, and 3 sisters were raised, and many of those in my family. Both brothers were all World War II veterans and Korean veterans. I was raised in the city, and I'm realizing that I'm here to really support and to promote this great city of Revere. It's great for me to be able to do that, not only as a member of the Chamber of Commerce, but a member of this community. And I'm very proud to be from this community because not only all the years and all the reasons why I was proud to be from here and our rich history of the beach, but recently we just suffered a tornado in this community. And once again, I've seen the community come together with the great leadership of Mayor Rizzo and many others in this community. It's really a very strong, passionate community as you've seen and you've heard through all of these hearings. I also, again, as I said, I'm here to represent the members of the Chamber of Commerce, particularly Suffolk Downs with the 79-year history that they have in this community, but also Mohegan Sun. Mohegan Sun has worked very hard to work with us as a Chamber of Commerce to let us know, what is planned with the casino and what the opportunities and benefits would be if we did have a casino here. I want to say for the record that I have not heard one word from the Wind Resort people at all. Not one contact has been made with us as a Chamber of Commerce from the Wind Resorts folks. And I think that's rather significant, considering that, Revere's mitigation agreement calls for $10 million in local spending for our local businesses and $50 million for the surrounding 15-mile community. So, for me, that really is important. But I myself have not heard anything. I've heard no record at all of anyone being contacted at all from Wind Resorts. And I think that really does have merit. We in the Chamber of Commerce in Revere do see the $1.3 billion business development effort being made in this area. We see that as significant, that it will help us, but it will also help many of the family members in this area and other affiliated businesses that do benefit from doing business with us in this area. The $50 million in the 15-mile area, I think that's going to help not only the travel and tourism industry of the North Shore, but I think in a lot of other businesses as well. Travel and tourism, the Revere Beach redevelopment effort, I think that's the key. For me, I see that as the wow factor. When you're comparing the 2 plans from Wind Resorts and Mohegan Sun, Revere Beach redevelopment will do amazing things for us as a community of Revere, and it'll give a lot more jobs to many of those that are looking for jobs in the area, not only the construction industry, but I think people that will be working in the hotel industry, restaurants, transportation, and the like. I think when Chairman Crosby spoke at the very beginning of these hearings, he was looking to assess the wow factor between the 2 plans. And I think Revere Beach redevelopment is, in fact, that wow factor. So again, I want to thank you very much for the opportunity to once again allow me to speak, and I do wish Mohegan Sun and Suffolk Downs well in the pursuit of this. And I know that you hold the future of what can happen here in Revere in your hands, and I do wish you well in that decision-making process. And thank you very much for that consideration.
I started family-run business that has been in operation since 1951. That's 63 years in business in Revere. We also have 4 other locations out in Massachusetts itself. I grew up in Revere, just a regular kid from Shirley Ave, moved up to the suburbs years ago, but I can tell you, my heart is always in Revere. I'm here to support building a Mohegan Sun Casino in the city I love. My support comes as a citizen of the Commonwealth, as well as a business operator in the city. It is our belief at Kelly's that building a Mohegan Sun Casino at Suffolk Downs would be the start of an unbelievable development of Revere Beach. We believe in our city leaders who have been informing us the city will benefit in many ways. With that being said, I'd like to acknowledge the mayor, the city council, along with our police and fire departments, along with the school department, for staying the course on this long journey. Seeing all of them in support of this development is comforting. I would also like to acknowledge the city and its residents for the remarkable work they did in helping each other during this tornado. Thank you.
My name is David Rowley. I'm a 25-year resident of Revere Beach. When I first moved here from Back Bay, Boston, in 1989, the beach was in shambles. Since then, I'm amazed at the improvements, but there's more to come. Bringing the casino gambling to this area will be good for Revere, for the state of Massachusetts, for several reasons. It will create much-needed jobs. It will put Revere on the map as a world-class city. The revenue to the city of Revere will continue to build, will contribute to maybe building a new high school, which is much needed. I hear that the high school that they built in Newton cost $200 million for a state-of-the-art high school. As far as the state is concerned, it will keep the gambling revenue from going across state lines. People in Suffolk County and the state of Massachusetts have been waiting a long time for a casino gambling. It's about time to give everybody what they've been waiting for. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, for allowing me to speak today on behalf of Mohegan Sun. My name is Glenn McCullough. I'm with Kettle Between Soups. We're a 28-year-old company, local company, that started in Revere, moved to Somerville, Chelsea, and now we're located in Lynn. We've had a long, awesome relationship with Mohegan Sun. They're an honest company. They treat you well as a customer. They're our customer. They treat us really well. And they know what they want, and we give it to them. They've allowed us to grow in both locations in Pennsylvania and Connecticut, and it's allowed us to continue making soups on a regular basis. They're not our biggest customer, but they're an important customer, and I just wanted to say that it's great for them to be allowed to have a casino here and be great for the community. And then also, which has been my home for 30 years since I came from Chile. So again, thank you so much for allowing me to speak today, and I knew it was going to be the clock. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.
And Zilli is next, followed by Gail Mirano.
Good evening, Massachusetts Gaming Commission. My name is Anna Lanzilli, and I would like to thank you for allowing me the platform to speak for the third time on the best choice for the Region A license, Mohegan Sun. When I spoke prior, I addressed you on behalf of the employees of Suffolk Downs. As a wife and employee of Suffolk, I know how important this license is in continuing the legacy of thoroughbred racing and wagering in Suffolk. Revere citizens have had wagering and gambling in the city for years, and they welcome expanded gaming and the revenue and benefits it will have in their community. I've been to meeting after meeting and have spoken multiple times. I had a very difficult time on deciding what I would say this time around, because I think everything that could possibly be said on why the license should go to Mohegan has been reiterated multiple times. Most importantly, I believe it boosts the economy in Revere while keeping the doors open to a historical venue is sitting right at our doorstep. Mohegan's commitment to job creation and preserving current jobs is something needed not only in the city of Revere, but in the state of Massachusetts. I personally know people who are still unemployed due to the closing of Wonderland in 2010. How much can one city take? Our local businesses may be thriving, and the opportunity to have additional business is something no one will turn away. Mohegan is offering a rewards program that will drive old and new patrons to their business. I can't say the same for women. Revere needs to seize the opportunity now and has voted not once but twice to bring a resort casino to their city. The host community agreement that has been put in place for Revere is one that is lucrative and can be life-changing for all residents in Revere. Mohegan has also come to agreements with all surrounding host communities without arbitration. Can't say the same with our competitor. I would like to take a moment to mention 3 current communities that are prospering from a resort casino built in their city. I feel they are a direct representation of what can happen in Revere. That Salem, Pennsylvania thought a casino would destroy their town. Instead, it has flourished and is being one of the best places to live in the U.S. by Money Magazine in 2012. This can happen in Revere. Cincinnati, Ohio is named by Forbes magazine as one of 15 U.S. cities emerging downtown and attributed Horseshoe Casino as part of their success story. This can happen in Revere. And Saratoga Springs, New York was named one of America's best main streets in Travel and Leisure magazine. And I can confidently say, in conjunction with having the first historical beach in the U.S. right here, this can absolutely happen in Revere. As I close, I want to thank the amazing people I've met through this journey. We all started for different reasons on why we stood behind this resort casino, but we all ended up coming together and have dedicated countless hours to making this project a reality for the city. Thank you to the Mass Gaming Commission for coming to this community and listening to our stories. On September 12th, I wholeheartedly know you'll make the right decision and award the license to Mohegan Sun, the premier gaming brand in the Northeast. Let's make the vision of all those sitting in this room a reality. Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners, and thank you for having me here today. My name is Gail Morano. I'm president of GAP Promotions, for a promotional marketing and display agency located in Gloucester, Mass. And just about a year ago, I'm standing here today. I'm really proud to share the experience and partnership that we formed with Mohegan Sun, which started a year ago. We originally met in August last year in Sturbridge, where they were looking to stand an event titled Working In and Working with Mohegan Sun. The invite alone was of great interest to us because we anxiously had been awaiting the casino referendum here in Mass. And honestly, we were so excited that Mohegan was a player and we wanted to learn more. It was a beautiful summer night. We drove there. And from the moment we walked into the event, we absolutely felt welcome, sort of like we were home. And we listened to employees and suppliers alike share their success stories with Mohegan. With each story, we had more interest in learning more. We were impressed with the opportunities that Mohegan provided and the passion that was displayed by all. They were quite clear about their expectations and licensing process. Following the presentations, they even took the time to visit each table, talking with and answering any questions that arose. We knew right away that the hard work, extra effort, and growth from within, and love for what we do, that Mohegan Sun embodied GAP Promotions values and culture. They were, to us, the real deal. We absolutely knew we wanted to pursue this project further and that the opportunity was not just about Massachusetts. Mohegan Sun was indeed a family. We followed up to thank our contacts and were immediately connected with one of their purchasing agents to be placed on their vendor list to determine if we were fit with their products and pricing. They stated their expectations as the bid started, and we were grateful to be a part of this process. Shortly thereafter, Suffolk Downs was in the news and we were invited to attend local events. And what was so impressive is the form and personality of these events was exactly the same. It was just the location that had changed. And having grown up in the North Shore, this project was near and dear to me. Imagine this undertaking right in our backyard, and it's revitalize the area. It's truly huge. I couldn't imagine anybody but Mohegan Sun to take this on. And I will add Win-Who, because honestly, I've never heard anything or any invite from them either. I've had previous exposures to Las Vegas casinos, and you're just a number to them. At Mohegan, they value partnership and they want a relationship for the long term. In October, we attended an event in the Center for Women in Enterprise Leadership Conference, where Mohegan had a prominent presence and an interest in doing business with minority vendors. We participated in a matchmaking event where we had such a warm greeting from the people we met in August. We discussed our progress on our bidding process, which hopes our hard work will pay off. We felt we were strengthening our relationship with Mohegan and on our way to building a long-term partnership. In November, we received our first order. It was a big celebration at our company. Our team was so excited. And later that month, we ran into, again, Mohegan at a diversity event at Fenway Park. And they made us the stalkers because we're now like following each other everywhere. In early December, we visited Mohegan Sun and met the purchasing agents we've been working with. They took the time to explain their process and also listen to us share our capabilities and some new ideas we prepared. It was so helpful and we truly felt very welcome, all knowing that our knowledge will help us do a better job for Mohegan. In January, we got to receive our Mohegan non-gaming license, which allows us to work with the Mohegan Sun property and have been receiving quotes and have the opportunity to partner on additional orders. And actually, a couple weeks ago, we got our first order, which that was a good victory, so we were pretty excited about that. As things are so positively progressing for Mohegan Sun Revere, we continue to attend all the events, and each time the purchasing agents and executives, take the time to come and talk, and never ever, they talk to everybody, but they never ever rush you at all, and even us who, are established under at this point, they take the time to see how things are. They speak with everybody, and they're committed to this project and the people and the businesses of North Shore.
Thank you very much. For 2 hours, we're going to finish tonight, but right now we're going to take a 10-minute break, and it's a real 10-minute break, so we're going to resume All right, ladies and gentlemen, stay well. We'd like to resume now, ladies and gentlemen, if we could. You all right, Lori? All set? All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you could take your seats, we'll get on with these comments, which are enormously valuable to all of us. And we'll begin with Tasso Nikolakopoulos, and he'll be followed by Marissa Curali. Mr. Nikolakopoulos. Mr. Nikolakopoulos here. Maybe not able to read it back into the hall. We'll go him again in a second. Marissa Curali.
Hello, my name is Marissa Curali, and I am the office manager at the Revere Collins Senior Center. I am speaking on behalf of Stephen Fielding, our director, who was not able to attend tonight. As the director of the Revere Collins Senior Center, I am confident that our senior population will benefit greatly from a Mohegan Sun destination resort-style casino. The revenue generated from the city of Revere will provide Mayor Rizzo the financial strength and opportunity to allocate monies to repair and meet the immediate needs of our current existing building that is physically failing. In the near future, it is our goal to construct a new one-level senior center that meets the needs of an increasing numbers of seniors, the fastest growing segments of our population. Provide monies to increase additional senior center staff that will support seniors, enabling them to have a more direct selection of services that consist of informational, referral, medical, and healthcare opportunities. Strengthen programs, services, and activities in the areas of health, nutrition, exercise, education, allowed the hiring of additional external instructors, specialized medical and nursing professionals, and other experienced individuals in an ancillary number of fields that are directly related to seniors. Allow the seniors to purchase customized technology-driven software to monitor our senior population's participatory involvement. Increase our transportation services, including funding for drivers to accommodate the escalated demand for rides to the senior center, medical appointments, local pharmacies, banks, library, and other pertinent places of business, giving seniors the ability to remain independent and entrenched in community living rather than isolation, loneliness, and despair. I ask you to comprehend fully what this all means to the city and its most treasured citizens. Our seniors have worked their entire lives and deserve the utmost respect and benefit. The revenue from a Mohegan Sun destination resort style casino will work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, we're going to call again Councilman Akopoulos. All right, then Dick Ben, followed by Paul Umbrella. Mr. Umbrella, if you come down into the ready chair. Mr. Ben.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm here to address something a little different tonight, one of your core values. That's where you state we value a diverse workforce and supplier base and an inclusive culture internally and among our partners in the Massachusetts gaming industry. I have had the unique honor to work with Mohegan Sun for the past 18 years in providing employees with disabilities to meet their staffing needs at their property in Connecticut. When I look at their history of diversity and inclusion, it began in 1633. Now, I'm not going to do the entire history of the tribe, but in 1633, along the danger of the Mohegan chief, Uncas settled with his clan. For centuries, these Mohegan people have worked and lived with the community to create a better life for themselves and their non-Indian neighbors. These same traditions have been used to guide employees of Mohegan Sun to provide a unique Mohegan Sun experience throughout the spirit of welcoming, mutual respect, cooperation, and building relationships. This enduring tradition is called Spirit of the Equate. As I've heard tonight, you're looking at the future of casino gaming here in the city of Revere. The future of people with disabilities is equally important to me. For 4 years, I've run community enterprises. We're headquartered in Northampton, Massachusetts. We have 5 branches in this part of the state. We stand ready to continue our relationship that we started 18 years ago with Mohegan Sun and providing a quality employment training program for people with disabilities at this casino. We've signed a memorandum of agreement to work with the casino already. In the past 3 years alone, Mohegan Sun has hired and trained with us 127 individuals with disabilities to work at their property in Uncasville. They've already said they will be glad to work with us here. We've trained in 24 different jobs. If you're someone with a disability and you want to work at Mohegan Sun, they will work with us to find the right training opportunity, the right jobs so they can be successful, along with the right accommodations. Here in Revere, the future is bright for individuals with disabilities. We'd be happy to expand our role with the Sun as we have 4 offices within 20 miles. Our state funding sources are excited about the prospect of good, high-paying jobs for individuals with disabilities in this area. We're prepared to replicate our award-winning training program that we developed in conjunction with Mohegan Sun. And I want to just state that Mohegan Sun is a tremendous community partner. I'm happy to endorse them as they work to develop operations in Revere. On behalf of community enterprises and the individuals with disabilities we serve, I want to thank you for the time to give testimony today.
Thank you. And Anne Marie Casey will be next. Ms. Casey, Mr. Umbrella.
Thank you, members of the board. My speech is brief, and before I begin, I'd just like to acknowledge a round of applause to Chip Tuttle and the Suffolk Down Management. Chip stated on his commitment to Boston and the racing industry when Mohegan Sun has awarded a gaming license. Thank you again. I'm Paul Umbrella, owner and managing partner of Charles River Racing Stables. I offer racehorse partnerships and have members as partners. As owners, we alone have contributed hundreds of thousands of dollars back into the racing industry and the economy. I've testified numerous times, and again I'm here today to support a yes vote for a gaming license to be awarded to Mohegan Suns in the city of Revere. My comments today are my own and unsolicited by Mohegan Sun or Suffolk Downs. We've been stating the same facts meeting after meeting, but the truth is Mohegan is by far the right choice over Wynn. This is because of the millions of dollars they are offering to give back to the host and surrounding communities, their momentum to rewards programs which will contribute to your businesses, and the millions of dollars for road improvements. One of the most important points I'd like to make is the preservation of the 800 plus existing jobs in the racing industry. If Wynn had ever awarded the gaming license, these jobs in racing in New England are lost as we refer. My business will be out of business. I won't contribute back to the racing industry of the economy. Some are opposed to gambling in the racing industry. They're not seeing the big picture here of jobs being saved and new jobs being created. In closing, members of the board, I urge you to award Mohegan Sun the District A gaming license. I also urge all those here tonight in favor of casinos in Massachusetts to start now and tell their families, friends, co-workers, neighbors, and everyone else they know how important the November vote is, and encourage them to get out and vote in favor of casinos in Massachusetts. I thank you for your time.
Anne-Marie Tracy, Nick Malayson, followed by Bill Ligorio. Mr. Ligorio, if you can come down, Mr. Malayson.
Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission, I'd like Anne-Marie Casey, I'm substituting for her. She's unable to make it. But I was bumped 2 or 3 other times, so I'm a designated hitter now. My name is Hal Abrams, and my family has lived in Revere for a total of 5 generations. In my younger days, I did work at Suffolk Downs. I worked for people in the thoroughbred industry that were trainers. I worked for Jack Bamber, who was a Kentucky Derby winners, Carl Guzman, who has quite a stable, and the legendary Bill Beck, who, although he's in the Baseball Hall of Fame, did run Suffolk Downs. I was glad to work under these people. I am support of the Revere location because I'm in the building trade and also the engineering trade. We support the Revere location for the following reasons. It's conveniently located near Logan Airport, and we believe that approximately half of patients that will come to Mohegan Sun will be coming by Logan Airport by year. It's on the Blue Line, and a lot of people will be using the Blue Line. In fact, Mohegan people mostly use the Blue Line this season during all these events. There will be stops here at the Mohegan Sun, at Beachfront, Suffolk Downs, and possibly Wonderland on the Blue Line. There could probably be, because it's an open rail system, maybe a moderate system. It's something that can be built and envisioned. It's something not like in the Jetsons, it's something that can be in real. I have built also many spots overlooking the racetrack, and most people that want to improve their kitchens or dining rooms or whatever, on the side of the East Boston Hill that overlooks Suffolk Downs, it's a beautiful view in the morning. It's picturesque. To wake up in the morning, sit down at your porch or breakfast table and watch the horses exercise and Suffolk Downs. It's a gorgeous sight, and that's what a lot of people in East Boston are now building, and that's how they start their morning. To talk about the Everett site is something that you have to understand. We develop mostly in Charlestown and East Boston, but when you build in Charlestown, you see the Everett site. You see it in the Mystic River. It's an LNG site. And being an LNG site, all the abutting properties have LNG problems. No one's allowed in the harbor. When the LNG ship comes in, where Mohegan is, where wind development is going to be, everything comes to a stop. Nothing's allowed in the harbor. If you're on a rooftop, you're told by the helicopter with a spotlight to please get off the roof and close your windows, and please do not overlook the harbor because of the security that is going on with the LNG. It's right in the middle of the wind area, and when they bring the LNG ship into this
into Everett, along with other 22 billion gallons of petroleum, along with the LNG tanker into Everett, it's a hazard if something ever goes wrong. To put a resort in the middle of this does not compare to where the Mohegan Sun is going to be here in Revere. In order to get into the harbor, the following agencies have to protect the LNG tanker. You have the Coast Guard, you have Homeland Security, you have the Boston Police, the Boston Fire, Everett Police. Now Everett also has a name in it. Let me just finish up and thank you, the Commissioner, for coming in.
Thank you, Rick.
And thank you for listening. Thank you.
All right, taking relations. Bill Ligorio. And Mr. Ligorio will be followed by Nancy Burns.
Thank you, Commissioners. Part of my appearance, I did work today at the track, so we got to come with a good man. It's good to see you all again. I normally don't have something prepared, but I did forget most of what I want to say, so I did make some notes. I live on 36 Whitby Ave. I've been a member of the city of Revere my whole life, as was my dad and my grandparents, et cetera. We're third-generation Revere residents. And as a lifelong resident of Revere, and hustling in Suffolk Downs for the past 30 years, it is very clear that in every possible criteria, Mohegan and Suffolk Downs are the all-around best choice for the region neighborhood casino license, and Revere is the ideal location. I want to thank the Gaming Commission for the thorough job they've done, and I hope the voters of Massachusetts again show their support for the gaming bill in November, so that all of the groundwork can become a reality for the good of the whole area. Revere has already voted twice in favor, and the city of Boston is now satisfied with its participation. My fellow trainers and other hustlers at Suffolk Downs are very excited that live racing will remain a major part of the overall project going forward, and want to go into 2015 in full stride for the benefit of everyone concerned. For that reason, especially now that Boston is on board, we would like to see a firm commitment to a specific blueprint for a bond area to be included as part of the license process so that it becomes something the husband can count on for next year. The Honorable Commission, I'd like to say that it's a key point for us because it's a wonderful place for the casino, but what people have to understand is we're displacing not only the hustlers from a 79-year location, we're displacing an industry that needs to be on premises to continue. In order for us to keep running and thrive at Suffolk Downs, we need to be stable at Suffolk Downs somewhere on the property. And we do need a firm commitment, and we need your help in that respect. We need the smoothest, most coordinated joint effort possible with the least chance of possible delays. I believe everyone involved in the Mohegan Suffolk Resort Casino, including all of us involved in live racing, remain 100% committed to working together in every way to see this through and make it the huge success that we've all been waiting for. And thank you for your time.
Kathy Wyatt, Ms. Wyatt, and next will be Louis Carpicci. Before you start, I was just handed a note that said that there are lights on in a Honda Insight. A Honda Insight license number S18WKS. S18WKS. Lights on the front. All right. Ms. Luisa.
Hi, my name is Kathy Wyatt, and I'm on the board of Suffolk Downs. Thank you for allowing me to voice my concerns one last time. I've been to almost every meeting and hearing and had the opportunity to have had my voice heard at a few. While patiently sitting through hours of listening to other people's opinions, I've heard some very disturbing and exaggerating comments, until tonight, nobody has brought up the alternative. What is going to happen to Suffolk Downs if Mohegan Sun is not granted a gaming license in Massachusetts? Having grown up in Franklin, I'm a country girl at heart. I appreciate the message of the Joni Mitchell song that I referred to the last time I spoke to you. I feel like I have the best of both worlds, living in the city, yet enjoying the country setting without leaving my big backyard. I would like you to close your eyes and picture beautiful blue sky, big fluffy white clouds, and green grass and green trees that stretch for more than a mile. Hear the soft thump, thump, thump of the horses' hooves as they pass by while conditioning in the early morning. Smell the freshly grown grass on a balmy summer day, and feel the warmth of the sun and the cool breezes as they caress your face. No, this isn't a dream. You're sitting on our back deck on Walmart Avenue in Boston. Now open your eyes and look out over the immaculately manicured grounds of Suffolk Downs. You can see almost all the way to Revere Beach. Would you believe that you're actually sitting in the city? Close your eyes again and picture 18-wheeler freight trucks and tractor-trailers rumbling through our neighborhood. Listen to the grinding of their gears as they try to maneuver the narrow and hilly streets of Orient Heights. Smell the pungent diesel exhaust as they sit idling in traffic on the highway, and feel the heat of their roaring engines. This is the alternative. This is the reality as Suffolk Downs closes. This is what I imagine will happen if my little piece of paradise gets bulldozed over. This is what it will be like if there's low-income housing units, some off-site parking for the airport, a strip mall, or the freight companies from across the street that will most likely expand. I asked you last time to remember my family and I and the song that Joni Mitchell sang. I'm asking you again to please consider who and what are going to be affected if Mohegan Sun is not granted the license in Massachusetts and Suffolk Downs ultimately closes. When making your decision, I want you to think about the employees at Suffolk Downs who will be without jobs and health insurance, the environmental impact of removing the green space in order to develop the land, the current horrendous traffic situation at the intersection of Boardman Street and McClellan Highway that will only get worse, and most importantly, the people like me living along Waldemar Ave who abut Suffolk Downs. Please don't break my country girl heart. Please don't force us to have to sell our beautiful house with a big backyard. Please don't make us leave a little bit of tranquility that is left in the city. And again, please don't pay paradise to put the parking lot.
Mr. Scarpiccio, and the next will be Wanda Rosario.
Good evening, members of the commission. Your attention span is commendable. I appreciate it. I think you can see from the folks in this room that this is an important decision, so thank you very much for paying attention to everyone who testifies today. I am a East Boston resident. I grew up in Orient Heights on Orient Ave. I used to, as a child, walk across the street to a neighbor's house, and you can see the horse in front of the one who built it. This house is about 8 years old. So I'd be very, very disappointed if Suffolk Downs goes away. I voted for the casino absentee ballot from Fort Bragg, North Carolina. While I was away, I had a chance to really listen to both sides of the argument kind of from a distance, and I was told that I was pretty lucky to hear it from a distance. So as I listened to both sides, from the opponent's side, what I really heard was a lot of pessimism. I heard a lot of negativity about the community and what would happen if this project goes forward, and I really disagreed with it. The people of this community can handle something like this. I've been to plenty of cities, I've been to plenty of places that have casinos that don't have the quality of people that we have in Revere, that really have thrived with having a casino, and I know that we would be able to handle such an establishment. The folks in this room and the folks in these communities, we're not going to let what our opponents say happen. We're not going to let it turn into a slum. We're not going to let the crime increase. We're not going to let poverty come in. That won't happen in this area. So you can rest assured if you voted to put a casino here, it's going to be a success. People of the surrounding communities, again, our opponents, very, very negative views of what would happen. When I say that this will be a success, and when I say that I'm confident that it will be a success, it's because of the people in this room, not just the folks that live in these communities. I've seen everything I would want to see from the leaders of Suffolk Downs, Mohegan Sun, and political leaders. I don't make this decision lightly. I wouldn't make this vote and I wouldn't have cast that ballot for such a business if I thought there was even the slightest chance that it would hurt these people or this community that I love. And when I got up after duty, I returned to. I want this place to succeed. I want these businesses to succeed. And I know that these folks here in this room are going to make it succeed. So you can be confident we can vote yes for this project. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Rosario. I live in Boston, and I'm a proud member of the local Revere 426. I'm starting opposite to the casino's proposal in Revere, and so is my opinion. The agreement between Mohegan Sun and Boston will not address the most important issue, job quality. The job quality. This casino will subcontract many of the jobs. They want to subcontract an entire hotel. And you need to learn my story to understand why I opposite to this proposal. For 23 years, I've been working as a housekeeper in Marriott Hotel in Boston, and I was making about $15 per hour. And I thought I'm going to be there until I retire. But in 2009, I then subcontracted housekeeping in another company, and the subcontractor brought in temporary housekeeping to the hotel. They're going to get only $8 per hour. My co-worker and me, we was fired. But before we get fired, we trained the people who later will take our place on the hotel. I was one of the lucky ones because right now I'm working in Park Plaza Hotel. Park Plaza Hotel has June, and I make $18 per hour right now. And I have here job security. Some of my co-workers, they don't work with the same lucky like me, because they still don't find any job right now after they were fired. Commission. I urge you to think about my story. When you make a decision, some companies will put the profit before the workers. That is not good for the workers, and that is not good for Boston either. So thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Stephanie Scopa, and I am a resident of the city of East Boston. I would first like to thank you, Commission, for the opportunity to speak today in support of the applicant Mohegan Sun and your consideration of this project. I come before you today representing several interests of someone who supports Mohegan Sun. But let's get right to the point. I am supporting Mohegan Sun's application because of their commitment to local small businesses, like the ones in the Revere Chamber of Commerce, in which I am lucky enough to work with, as I am the administrative director there. When we discuss the many opportunities with Mohegan Sun, we are not only talking about jobs, but the opportunity for small businesses in the Revere community and others to grow and prosper. Working with Mohegan Sun means that small businesses will be able to be affiliated with one of the most prestigious gaming facilities in the region. Mohegan Sun has agreed to spend millions of dollars annually with Revere and surrounding community businesses. They are also implementing a Momentum Rewards program so that patrons of Mohegan Sun, Massachusetts will be able to redeem their rewards points earned at the gaming facility to make direct purchases with local small businesses. It will allow patrons to use their rewards points at their favorite hair salon, their son or daughter's daycare, and their preferred local restaurant. That is important for the small business. For the administrative director of the Revere Chamber of Commerce, having a resort casino paired with our small businesses in the area is an opportunity like no other. I am a lifelong resident of East Boston and a property owner there, a past small business owner myself, a horse owner's daughter, and the administrative director. I would be honored and filled with enthusiasm to welcome Mohegan Sun, Massachusetts to Revere, and I hope that you will vote us in. Thank you for your consideration.
Followed by Richard Dolan. Mr. Parker.
Hi, good evening. Frank Parker, served on the school committee in Everett, I'm the vice chairman, and as you understand, we've got a little program. The conditional land on the former Monsanto site, is well documented. Since that's a chemical production facility, this is prior to the Civil War. But it's going to be remediated. It's going to be cleaned by a bona fide group with a track record history, including some of the properties from the unraced properties up in Woburn. So I'm confident that that issue will get resolved. We'll have a cleaner area down there, and people my age will stop coming down with deadly diseases, and so that someone else is dying every week. But with that, the Mohegan site in Suffolk Downs is not without its own environmental constraints. Granted, it's not outside, but still, it's something we thought about. And so that, I want to express concern regarding Mohegan Sun's NEPA report. While this report was filed with a separate entity, I believe warrants your consideration. First, to understand, the entire site that Mohegan Sun proposed is located on 100-year floodplain. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, the 100-year floodplain reference is the indication of probability which is equal to 1% in any given year. Specifically, the report indicates that the first floor parking garage in much of the site reported 4.5 feet in a 100 storm event. However, further analysis has revealed that the site would appear to flood a full 3 feet in a 10-year event. Moreover, the report doesn't address what would happen with high probability recurrences such as a 2 to 5-year event. And these 100-year events actually, they happened by Barker. We opened the conveyance school on Middle Street, it was a K-8 school about 10 years ago. And we had 2 100-year floods in the first year of operation. Further, there's also concern relative to the impact on wetland. Because the site is located adjacent to Belle Isle Marsh and not far from Lumley Marsh, it will likely have an impact on these fragile ecosystems. Mohegan Sun reports to identify how the project will impact these wetlands and how they will mitigate these impacts. In light of these concerns, it's evident that these issues deserve more study before any environmental approvals are considered. And we're at a minute and a half. I just want to correct one thing for the record. The gentleman that said he's going to get a Snickers bar at a gas station, and going across the street, we've got a full menu of GT's Lounge for the Caribbean. So, every not just sub shops and funeral homes. So, if you guys come over the board and help spend your money sometime, when I'm at Renzo's, and listen to DJ George, when I'm at the Lash, and ordering pizza through the window, ringing a bell, hoping Dayton and Berta West show up, we can certainly prove and I can help these neighbors. And then the last thing, like many of you, because I see you around, we've been together in Boston, Everett, Charlestown, my first time in Revere. And a lot of reasons that we say that this will help the region, you can interchange the words Everett and Revere for all those reasons. I think we all agree upon that. So just in closing, no matter what your decision, I'm telling you that I'm going to work with either group to make sure that we repeal portion 3 in November. I ask all of you to do the same. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And Mr. Dolan will be followed by Michael Alexander.
Hello, my name is Richard Dolan. I've lived in Revere for all of my 75 years. I've lived in Ward 1, Ward 2, Ward 3, and Ward 4. And we only have 6 wards in the city. So I spoke before the commission in the convention center, and I talked about jobs. I wrote 2 letters that were published in the Revere Journal that talked about jobs and everything else. So I wasn't going to talk about that, but just one little because when you let a person go, you let a family go. So now I'll just read what I was going to read. I am sure you read the Sunday Globe. I hope you did. On June 22nd, 2014. That long 4-page damaging article should have put to rest what city must be selected as the host city for a Region A casino. It was a damning against winning. I would ask you to decide upon selecting Revere as the host community. Revere is, simply stated, the most obvious choice for you to make. We are now in the unenviable position of having to go to the polls a third time. This proves the commitment that Revere has towards Mohegan Sun. Revere will be vigilant and aggressive in its resolve to make this a host community where resort would take nothing less. This is not a political vote. This is a people vote. And the people of Revere need your vote. Thank you for this.
Thank you, Commissioners, for your patience and perseverance. I'm Michael Alexander. I'm the president of LaSalle College. LaSalle is a vibrant, thriving, private, high-quality institution in Newton, Massachusetts. We have a growing program in hospitality and event management. I'm joined here today by several talented young faculty members from that program. We recently entered into a memorandum of understanding with Mohegan Sun to support the job development goals of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. That agreement calls for Mohegan Sun to provide assistance to our program in the form of input to further program refinements, input to our curriculum. We will provide field experiences for sophomores and juniors in our program and paid internships for our seniors. Most importantly, they will provide management-level job opportunities for our graduates who have been trained for that industry. We, in turn, will provide them with customs workshops and courses for their employment, for their employees, and it also will provide discounts for any of their employees who want to enter into our hospitality event management programs. Last fall, we started specifically a major, the only major resort casino management east of the Mississippi, and to our knowledge, one of only 3 in the country. Their employees will be able to enter in that program if they want a discount, or in any of our graduate programs at a discount, including this fall, a new professional MBA that includes a concentration in hospitality and event management planning. So we are proud to partner with Mohegan Sun to support the job development goals and aspirations of the Commonwealth. Thank you very much.
And next will be Christopher Welling. Mr. Welling, if you're here, if you come down to the ready seat, please. Ms. Moran.
Thank you. Good afternoon, members of the Gaming Commission, respected elected officials, community leaders, education leaders, and the respected residents of Revere and its surrounding areas. My name is Mara Moreno. I'm originally from Spain, and I have been living in Waltham, Massachusetts, since I came to the United States almost 10 years ago. I recently graduated from and I acquired an MBA and a tax program in education from Boston University. As a recent graduate, I value education as one of the most important things in life and respect every project, entity, group, and organization that is willing to finance and support the creation of the schools. I have been following the process of the casino very closely because I have very dear friends collaborating with And it is obvious, even for someone who is not from either Revere or Everett, that this is the best choice. The best choice is Mohegan Sun and the benefits that it will bring to the community. The fact that Mohegan Sun will be giving money to schools and will actually create a school shows that Mohegan Sun in Revere is the right choice for this place and the surrounding areas. Also, as a recent college graduate, what student or graduate will want to take on another debt on top of college loans? We all look for jobs after we graduate that will be actually easily accessible to public transportation to take. Because having to purchase a car to commute to work is the last thing I want to do because I don't want to get another one to purchase a car. To my understanding, Mohegan Sun project will be right accessible to the T and basically public transportation, which will actually offer great opportunities to many graduates and even young adults looking for IT positions, accounting, marketing, business, administration, positions or internships, any kind of job. Aside from the money that Mohegan Sun will give to education and the actual location that we're talking about, Revere, I believe that Mohegan Sun has done quite enough already to reach out to diverse communities, including the Spanish community, which means a lot to me. I feel they have done everything to include me and my community on the information about the project, and many of the merchants I know, such as restaurant owners, like the little Spanish restaurant in Brooklyn, in which I have worked for a few months while finishing college, and which is also a member of the Points program. Members of the Gaming Commission, I'm sure I'm not the only resident from a neighboring city who believes Mohegan Sun is the right choice in this area. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Good evening, members of the Gaming Commission. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you again. My name is Mr. Welling, President of the International Alliance of the Active State Employees Local 11 in Boston. I represent 3 camera operators at Suffolk Downs. The IAPSD members have worked at Suffolk Downs for more than half a century. Most of our 600 workers service other entertainment venues in the Boston area, though. The City Center, the Convention Center. Last week, Katy Perry, Boston Garden. Yesterday, we set up Country Fest concert at Gillette Stadium. Next month, Lion King at the Opera House. Tom Petty at Fenway Park. We've serviced the entertainment industry since 1893. Chip Tuttle and Mohegan Sun have made IATSE a part of this project from the very beginning. Their labor harmony agreement includes unions big and small. The agreement assures good jobs during construction, and more importantly to me, are the careers that will span the decades after Mohegan Sun Casino is built. IATSE workers provide technically sophisticated, physically challenging services that require a complicated skill set. Commissioners, look above your heads. Less than 1,000 pounds of lights and curtains are hanging up there. On the average show, IATSE helps hang 60 to 100,000 pounds over the performance and audience. That is 10 to 20 trailer loads of lights, speakers, scenery, and video equipment. Who do you want hanging that gear at a new casino? I haven't heard from Mr. Wynn yet. I guess he's still looking for the lowest bidder. Mr. Wynn may have the most money, and I heard that here tonight. But is he going to share and be fair with his workers, or just with his foreign investors? I trust Chip Tuttle, Mohegan Sun, and their partner Joe Spalding at the City Center to provide good jobs with fair wages and benefits because of our shared history. The IAPSD supports the Mohegan Sun project. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, dear members of the Gaming Commission. I'm Gladys Oliveros. Most of my family live
I know that we need jobs as immigrants here in this region. I came today to you to ask you to consider give the Mohegan Sun the license to operate the casino in this area. And also, please don't ignore the jobs that we really need. I'm going to number a few of the issues that I think that you need to consider before I make a decision. First, the location. The location not only for customers or for visitors, but also for those workers, including students who may want to have an IT or a marketing internships. The facility will be close to the T station, which make it more accessible for those who are commuting or who are working to the jobs. Also, I remember a dog track was closed years ago in Revere and led to the big unemployment problems. Many of those folks are able to find jobs as local down. Many others had to apply for unemployment benefits, and many others ended just on the streets. We can afford to go to the same situation, like market baskets right now, will be not only negative to the city, but also for the region. Also, there is a large community of Latinos and Hispanos in Revere who have their kids in the local school. And only we make sense to have them work close to their schools. Also, the new $5,000 that trust fund for the first time homeowners, they are going to be in East Boston and Revere. As part of the agreement with the Boston, we create an opportunity to become home owners in the same way for increased neighborhood ownership, which I made a part, my family and I. The small businesses will be benefiting not only with the stipulation of the salaries, but also the fact that the many of minority businesses have been taken in consideration for those points programs. Means allow for diverse community from this area. The Mohegan Sun has organized meetings for vendors, businesses, with information and experience who incorporate our community. I have more points, but I think I have more time. But thank you so much for giving me this permit to be here in front of you. Thank you.
Mr. Gibson, and then Juan Carlos Montoya will be next. So, Mr. Montoya, can you come down?
Hi, I'm Mayor Gibson, your resident. And I have 2 points here. I would be affected in 2 ways by this. You know, I live in Revere and work in Revere. I'm a construction worker, I'm an electrician, I'm an IB, oil trade. And I would really like to build a casino. It's going to be good for the community. All the jobs that we're talking about are good wage jobs, union jobs. My brothers and sisters that work at the track, you know, we all count on this. You know, I think you have a good opportunity to help the community, and I really hope you choose Revere. Thank you very much.
Dear members of the committee, my name is Juan Carlos Montoya, and I am a resident of Revere, a business owner in East Boston. I'm here to tell you that I have been supporting the casino proposal in Revere, especially now with the agreement with Boston and East Boston. The fact that many of my customers will have the opportunity to work close to their homes will also increase the chances to them spending locally money and come to our business to share with us. Also, if the casino comes to Revere instead of Everett, will be much better for everyone, especially for many of the neighbors from residents in East Boston For example, if Morgan and Son gets the casino, the visitors who comes to the airport, they will go straight to Revere. It goes to Everett. Most of the tourists will go, and most of the tourists and taxi drivers will not only go to the tunnel, but also through the main streets in East Boston, like Meridian Street, Brooks Street, Chelsea Street. So that means that they will ruin our roads, but I understand that the other proposal from Everett hasn't offered any money to repair the roads in my neighborhood, which means all of those repairs will be coming from our business and residential taxes. In addition to the fact, Morgan Son is going to integrate small business with their points program. Means a lot to me. About 4,000 people will be working on the casino through their employee discount program. Their employees will come to often to eat in our restaurants. From a personal perspective, not so much as a business owner, I have always believed that more people working make stronger and healthier. Ladies and gentlemen, I do have my kids sitting in the back in this room, and probably they think this is a worried meeting, but they don't know that we are talking about their future, about their dreams. So please, member of the commission, consider Morgan and Son for the license in Revere. Remember that we vote yes, yes, yes.
Good evening. My name is Luis Vasco. I'm a resident of East Boston, as well as a business owner in East Boston. I'm here to tell you that I was not too supportive of the casino proposal last year in East Boston. But today, I support Mohegan's Sun proposal in Revere. I must admit, at first, I was skeptical about the thought of casino in my neighborhood. I was against, based mainly on what I heard from the opponents. But as the time went on, my understanding of these projects evolved. I understand the potential opportunities for Revere and surrounding communities. My main concern was traffic, but now I have more clear understanding of the positive effects and impact. The tens of millions of dollars of private investment for road improvements and specific fixes to major intersections and roadways that will go above and beyond any added traffic the casino will generate. This is an opportunity for us. Realistically, some type of major development is coming to South Downs. Any development at that side will generate additional vehicle and traffic. But at least this project will go above and beyond to mitigate additional traffic disruptions and fix many existing issues that we see today. We talk about crime in the neighborhoods. I discussed that with some of the leaders here. We stand to be in a better position with Mohegan Sun as our neighborhood, or our neighborhood. With the additional funds Revere and Boston will get because of this project, the cities are set to hire more police and emergency services. The business partnerships that are available between Mohegan Sun and local vendors, such as myself, will boost business exposure and generate added business opportunities, whether it's the Mohegan Points Partnership Program or a piece of the $5 million that will spend on goods and services in East Boston. There are opportunities and possibilities that are depend on Mohegan Sun's success. If ever earns the license or get the license, my neighborhood loses the opportunities. If South Downs close and another type of development is built here, we all lose. People need these opportunities, as I am. And go out and push for the benefits instead of letting them pass by. Thank you.
horse racing. My good friend, Elton McCannis, is a horse trainer at Suffolk Downs, and my Nana, Clara Matola, is a huge fan of the sport. She went each time we had a horse racing. She absolutely loved it. One day I decided to go with her and see what horse racing was all about. It was then when I experienced my first winner's circle picture with my Nana, and I was hooked. And I've been hooked ever since. Today I'm the proud owner of 3 thoroughbred racehorses that are currently training in their LJ at Suffolk Downs. They live in Barnet. It's their home. It's been the home to many horses and many generations of horsemen. I'm brand new to this industry, and I'm still learning. But the time I spent there, the bond I have with these horses, and my new track family has changed me. I'm truly part of something extraordinary at Suffolk Downs. I realize there are many more people here tonight that are much more invested in this track than I am, and have remarkable stories to share. Many of whom will agree with me that horse racing is not a dying sport. It just needs the tools to market and compete with other choices for entertainment. And many of the folks here tonight, like me, are committed to staying there and racing there in the future. As you know, without a casino in Revere, there is a risk that this amazing track will go away. It's a nearly 80-year legacy. It's the last thoroughbred racetrack in all of New England. All of that history and any potential future memories will be lost. You could argue I'm the luckiest owner there is to have a track a few miles away from my home, from my work, where my friends and family can easily join me out to watch my horses race, or give them carrots and mints back at Barney, and enjoy these wonderful creatures. And for me, I'm fortunate enough to be able to see them every day and love them every day. Or you could argue what a shame it is to fall in love with the sport so late in the game, only to have it taken away so soon. Please don't let that happen. Put the casino in Revere so we can all enjoy the gift of both. Today with social media, I sent one note to family, friends, and colleagues that my horse Flex was racing, and 50 people showed up. They came to have some food and beer, make a wager, and enjoy sunshine and racing. They spent the whole day at Suffolk Downs. They had a wonderful experience and wanted to know what else was around here. They didn't want to leave. They've since been back with their families. Many of them are here tonight. Putting a casino in Revere will help this great track stay alive and create new experiences for many people, just like it did for my friends. And who knows, someday if I'm lucky enough that one of my babies are able to compete in the Kentucky Derby, I'll be honored and proud to say they trained at Suffolk Downs. And maybe we'll play a few slots that night to celebrate. I know I'm only one person and this is my dream, but there is an opportunity for you to help many people create these lasting memories. Help see the vision I see for a world-class casino and racetrack that will combine to make one of the most extraordinary places to visit. Keep the track alive, help it thrive to its fullest potential. Help me keep my horses in their home at Suffolk Downs, where I can see their beautiful faces every day, and share them with my racing team, my family and friends, and their biggest fan of all, my Nana. Thank you for listening.
William Jackson and John Valentine will be next. Mr. Jackson.
Thank you for permitting me to speak this evening. I want to thank each and every one of you for the professionalism and the patience that you have shown during these hearings. I've been asked to speak for a gentleman who is unable to be here. His name is Saber Abugalala. I consider him a friend. He has 3 businesses in this city of Revere. Came from Egypt and has made a great success for himself. Now, I'm not going to really say much about Revere because I really don't think it's fair how great Revere is. It's just not fair. I'm not going to do it. Why? Because if you compare Revere to Everett, no, there's no comparison. It's clearly evident there's no comparison between these 2 cities. None whatsoever. The people of Everett are good people. They need the casino, of course they do. They have a great mayor, they have great politicians. It's a fine city. Unfortunately, Everett cannot be chosen because of legacy. Now, from reports in the Boston newspapers, the Gaming Commission will not have a final report that would detail how the contaminated site in Everett would be cleaned before you take the votes at 10 o'clock. You are not going to have that information. The reason, why is that? Because the Department of Environmental Protection granted a request from the Denuncio group to extend the deadline for an environmental study for 1 year. This report will detail the following. Number one, how the contaminated dust will be monitored as it blows across the neighborhood. And not just in Everett. It will be coming into Revere. Who knows what's in that air? Nobody knows for sure. Two, that study will determine how the contaminated dirty soil will be excavated. Three, how and where the contaminated material will be managed. And that means how and where is it going to be dumped. This site contains arsenic and lead, and who knows what else is in that soil. Nobody does. And Monsanto has been there, or was there for decades, so this is just a lot of poison. And by the way, this is all public knowledge. It was in mostly the Boston Herald, the whole last week. And by the way, there are rumors, very good, strong rumors, that no excavation will start due to a coalition of environmental protection groups who will seek and probably get a court-ordered injunction. This thing could go on for years. And then there's a little fighting between Boston and you, Gaming Commissioner, because the city is no longer a surrounding community. And that's because Boston didn't respond to the questions that you asked.
All right, Mr. Jackson, thank you very much.
Do I get
You
another
your
minute?
point.
I spoke for the other gentleman?
I mean, no, I think you've had your 4 minutes. Thank you very much. You get your thing. All right, Mr. Valentine, John Valentine. And Mr. Valentine will be followed by Carol Todd. Mr. Valentine.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'm here today as a citizen and a homeowner in Revere. I don't represent any businesses. I have no vested interest other than the goodwill of the city of Revere. I wish everyone to be successful, but really I'm sitting here tonight is really just an amazement. They don't build casinos with winners. In the community is going to take a great hit, taking the wealth, taking the money right out of the system. We talk about crime. Crime is already here. It's only going to get worse. So that's a concern. Traffic. We live in a densely populated community, both Revere and Everett. I don't think that we should have a casino in either community. It should be on the highway, 93, out of the way. Just think about the airport, real commerce. The airport, we're going to jeopardize that. Traffic is not bad enough now. Local businesses that get these reward programs. Gamblers come to a casino for one purpose only, to gamble and leave. They're not going to get their hair done. They're not going to go elsewhere in the community. They go, gamble, lose their money, and leave. The professionals will win. The rest of us will lose. Well, he and son will give money to the city in all sorts of ways. Mr. Mayor, they're going to need it because we have a declining tax base and crime going through the roof. Again, I want everyone to be successful, but you know, apparently I'm the only one here who don't want a casino at all. So it's really all about, you know, the zoning. The zoning, we shouldn't have a casino in Revere, in Everett. Revere has over 53,000 people. The last census, 2012, Everett 43,000. It's just too congested. No matter what you do in these roads and highways, it's not gonna fix the traffic patterns that are gonna happen. Thank you very much for your time. And again, no vested interest in you. And one last thing, I appreciate all the Suffolk Downs folks. You know, I want them to be successful and I wish them well. But your decision shouldn't be based on a dying industry, which it is. Young people, and no one's going. That's why it's not successful. If it was successful, we'd be thriving. Maybe they need some help, I don't know, but your decision should be based on that. I say your decision should be based, not Everett, not Revere.
All right, sir, thank you. Mr. Ty, Ms. Ty, Carol Ty.
Thank you, I've spoken before you, and so many other people have, and you've heard the same arguments over and over again. But I'm here today because as an elected member of the school committee, I think it's really important that you understand that we believe that the Mohegan Sun project is really crucial to the future of education in Revere. The superintendent supports it, the school committee supports it, the mayor supports it, because we know this is the only way we can make improvements in our school department. I was born a neighbor of Suffolk Downs just after it was actually established, and have lived in the same house all my life, and I've always considered Suffolk Downs a good neighbor. I can give you 3 points as to why I think that Revere should get the Mohegan Sun proposal. First, I mean, we need economic development. I realize that just because we need it, it isn't necessary that you give it, but I know that's part of the law, that the needs of the community should be considered. People have talked about the jobs that are now in existence. We know that's really important, not only for the jobs at Suffolk Downs, but for the family farms. Our low-income families, we see the suffering every day in our school system as we feed children breakfast, lunch, and oftentimes dinner as well. Our businesses need the support of the partnership that it can bring, and that will bring success not only to the employers and businesses, but to the employees. I've been in the school department for half a century, actually more than that. So my first priority is the kids. Our kids need the benefit of being in a place where they can go to a youth center. I also belong to Revere Cares, the MGH coalition in support of children in Revere. And when we take a vote, the number one thing the kids want, of course they don't vote for a new high school, but the number one thing they want is a youth center. They feel that they have no place to go after school. And as much as we try to put in after school programs, we cannot support them all. And I certainly know that we need the infusion of $1 million a year. That will buy an awful lot of iPads in the school system. And most of all, I hope that after we get this proposal, someone invited you to shovel in the ground ceremony for Mohegan Sun. You probably can't do that. But I hope to invite you to the shovel in the ground ceremony of the opening of a brand new Revere High School. I read the newspapers. I don't know much about the Everett project. All I know is what I read in the newspapers is that the entire project over there seems to be replete with intrigue, deception. The project developer seems to be someone whose idea was to bully people by almost antagonistic and arrogant bombast. The Mohegan Sun has negotiated with people, has reached out considerably, considered the negotiations with both Revere and surrounding communities with respect, with a back and forth. I don't see that coming from there. When the Beachfront Improvement Committee said we don't like the fencing that you have for Andrew Avenue, they said, well, okay, we'll look at it. Well, we made suggestions for traffic change. They tweaked the plan. They've been responsive to just about every suggestion. Now, you could say, well, that's good business, but that is good business. It's good for us,
good for their business, it's good for all of us. So I hope that I will be able to see you at the shovel in the ground ceremony of the new high school, and I hope that the proposal will go to the
Now, we're finished with the people who signed up before the meeting began, and their names are all typed. So pardon me if I stumble over some of these names that the handwriting I can't read. Paul C. Brooker, Mr. Brooker, and Dolores Esculo would be the next. So, Mr. Brooker.
Commissioner, I congratulate you on your patience, time, and empathy on this draconian issue. I'm here in support of Mohegan Sun in a multifold position. I am a resident and property owner of rental property in East Boston. I'm also the National Director of the International Union of Journeyman Orchards. Employees at Suffolk Downs, and I've been employed at Suffolk Downs over 40 years. I have formed many great friendships with the workers, jockeys, owners, trainers, and management. And most importantly, I have formed great friendship with the fans of racing, which contributes. There's concern about traffic mitigation. Yes, there will be, but there are plans to alleviate. Secondly, and importantly, the MBTA is deep in debt. The increase in ridership will alleviate much of this. At a meeting a few years ago, I mentioned that yes, after a period of time, many riders will take public transportation buses. A gentleman jumped up and told me that was ludicrous to think people would ride buses to a casino. He is like many negative attitude towards gambling. I don't gamble. I went to Las Vegas for a week when the convention spent a whole $10 trying to win a motorcycle. In Atlantic City, I spent 25 cents. So I'm not a gambler. But I worked at Suffolk Downs for 42 years. And I enjoy it. They're great people. Like Billy Gregorio, I have concerns also about concrete plants, stabling, facilities, but my blacksmiths, veterinarians, vendors, and very importantly, the 8th Bowl, which is a great organization that helps many people who have problems at a time. The money being infused into racing from Mohegan Sun will alleviate a lot of problems that we have now. I have lost 2/3 of my blacksmith force because the days are not here. People are not coming back racing. I've gone from 21 blacksmiths to 7. Income has gone down because of the amount of days of racing. I was first introduced to Suffolk Downs in 1948 by my grandmother. And other than 18.5 years in the Marine Corps, I've been in racing all over the country. Racing is a great thing. Mohegan Sun will help us, and not only in sporting entertainment, musical entertainment, but in cultural, as they do with the great Indian powwows. This is things that people need, not just to gamble, and they will bring it. And I thank you for your time, and again, in your patience. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Lona Dove. Patricia Reardon.
Hi, my name is Kathy Reardon. My daughter's a trainer at the track. I've been to many of these meetings, including once in Ashbury Place in Boston. I would like to tell the committee that this is the last thoroughbred racetrack in New England. Many other places are building tracks, such as outside Boston, Texas, because they've and other things from this state. We need the support that has been taken away from the thoroughbred racing because of lotteries and other things that go on. The track that's in Plain Ridge they're already going forward with their plans. They're mostly Plain Ridge trotters that have a circuit throughout New England. They, at the end of this circuit, their meet, they go home to Maine. Here in Massachusetts, we want to bring our thoroughbreds home to stay and live. And in order to do that, we need the funds that come from racing. I've heard the plans, and I agree with Billy. We need concrete plans of the barn area that will be located at the track, not a hypothetical two-story thing that I've heard rumored around. Anybody that's ever taken a horse off a trailer knows it is not going to come down a second-story ramp. I'd like to thank the Commission for all they've done and allowing everybody to speak their mind. Thank you very much.
Hal Abrams. Vincent Camarada. David Lamafa. David Begalia. All right, sir, good evening.
How you doing, Commissioner? I am David Lamafa. I'm a Revere resident for 52 years, all my life. I'm a local Lawrence Green electrician. I've been out of work for almost 11 months. I just got back. This was a job to do. Since 2007, me and a bunch of other locals have been looking for this situation to get back to work. We have been waiting since 2007. This has been tough. Guys have lost jobs, guys have lost houses, and everything else. It's the vote. We voted twice and we did. We won both times. I remember the man. I asked him to thanks to me. When we won the vote in November, February 25th, I congratulated them there for the vote. I said I'm a local Lawrence Green electrician in the construction business. He says to me, and I thank him for this, if you get this license, you will not only work there, but you will head further. We will see the road on the beach and keep going. I trust Mr. Mayor. I trust what he can suffer. I trust the Suffolk Towers. Build the casino, give them the license, so every construction worker can get back to work and support their families.
Cynthia Tolan. Ms. Tolan.
It's late, so I kind of only want to count because she's been very patient. I heard the saying that what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I hope you repeat that. I hope you repeat what happens in Vegas in Vegas. I have no connection with the track. I'm not a gambler. Either not smart enough or dumb enough. I'm certainly not rich enough or poor enough to make any money from the track. I just love the horses. I love watching those magnificent creatures run. And I'm not talking about the trainers or the jockeys. I'm referring to horses.
There is one that I believe in 100% of. If you vote for Suffolk Downs and keep the story track alive, you will have a winner. And you will never regret this decision. We're a country that was built on agriculture. And as I was listening to people here today, I was thinking how appropriate it is that Revere, which is asking for the casino license, was named for a man who was a patriot and a silversmith. But he wasn't known for being a silversmith. He was known because he rode a horse. And I think Paul Revere would be very pleased if the track was kept alive in the city that bears his name. There are legendary names associated with the track, and I am not going to repeat all of them, but many famous horses and jockeys have been here. None, of course, which is more famous than our own Tammy Marini, who's in a rarefied stratosphere of being one of the few jockeys who has won over 2,000 races. And I think she's now the number 3 female jockey in the country for the number of races that she has won. But it's not about the famous names, it's about the everyday people who come to the track and care for these equines. It's also about leadership. Suffolk Downs was the first track in the country to ban any owner whose horse has been sold to someone else. And if a horse is found to end up in one of these facilities, the owner is banned for life from racing at Suffolk Downs. That's leadership. No medications other than LASIK may be administered to a horse within 24 hours of racing. It's clearly a remarkable part of Boston sports history. So I want to ask you, if the Boston Garden were in financial trouble, would you say no to the Celtics and the Bruins? If Gillette Stadium faced closure for economic reasons, would you say no to the New England Revolution and the Patriots? And heaven forbid, if Fenway Park did not have the backing to continue, would you say no to the Boston Red Sox? So I'm asking you, will you say yes to Suffolk Downs?
All right, and that concludes the list of speakers that have signed up. I want to thank each and every one of you who still remains, and those of you who left. As I said at the beginning, those comments that you all made and took the time to make are enormously important to all of us, and take them into careful account as we proceed. And I'm sorry, did you sign that, Mayor? Oh, we're not finished. Oh, okay. We're not about to go home. That was simply bringing the comments from all of you to a close, and now Mayor Rizzo and the team will lead us up.
Thanks, sir. We're entering turn 4. Not an home stretch. Good evening, Judge McHugh, Commissioners, Cameron, Living, Evans. Please be with you again this evening for our final chance to close as you enter the phase of your review, deliberation, and decision. We've been very grateful as a team for the opportunity over the past few years on a number of folks' part, particularly the guy with eyeglasses, to share our ideas, our history, and our qualifications as a collective team. But certainly here in the more recent phase of this, our vision and proposal to design and develop what we think is the Commonwealth's flagship gaming and entertainment complex right here in historic tourist destination in the city of Revere. And you know, a quick aside, and it was sparked, as Dave might have it, by the fact that, I don't know if he's still in the audience or not, but there's a young paratrooper from Fort Bragg, North Carolina here. And it took me back to my days in the Army. And what the recurring theme of his comments is that this is about the people. We can all show you a design plan and a marketing plan, a jobs program, but really it's about the people. And it's not just the historic destination city of Revere
that counts in this thing. It's those people of Revere. We have been humbled by the reception that we've received as the Mohegan Sun team here in the city of Revere. And I would be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity for those that are still present and hanging in there, and those who've already made their comments and departed, if I didn't take this moment to say thank you to all of you for working together. Another recurring theme throughout those comments tonight was from those who had experienced our casino in Huntsville, Connecticut. And to a speaker, they all mentioned the quality of our employees. And we like to think that our employees, our team members, are really our most precious resource. And if you take the fact that that's how we operate, that our employees, our team members are our most precious resource, and you overlay that on what our host and surrounding community agreements that call on us to employ these local people, these very wonderful people that I've just been talking about, then we're sitting on a veritable gold mine for what we can do here when we put our work in their hands here in the city of Revere. We're looking very much forward to that. You might recall that the last time we appeared before you, I suggested that you consider this decision not in this moment, but as part of the legacy of the decision that you will make for some time to come. And shortly after that hearing, just a few weeks ago, I had the great fortune to be out at an event on Revere Beach. And it occurred to me that tonight I should transport you forward in time, make you think about that legacy, look forward and reason back to this decision. It's truly breathtaking when you think about what could come from a decision to license Mohegan Sun, especially when you consider what it can do in terms of rejuvenating that historic beach, that tremendous stretch of ocean and sand. So imagine, if you will, that you're standing on a jetty coming out of the south side of Revere Beach. It's a reconstructed great ocean pier. You're looking back at the beach where you see Mayor Rizzo about to cut the river. And just a quarter of a mile away is the front door of our resort. Music from the newly formed Revere High School band fills the air. The band looks and sounds great. They're in their new uniforms. It matches their new school, all thanks to revenue generated by the Mohegan Sun Resort. And as you look down the beach is alive with activity. Umbrellas are along the waterline, umbrellas that are in the shades and the colors of the Mohegan Sun. Out on the water, there are sailboats filled with children. Children that are learning STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math along with sailing in a program that we anticipate bringing this fall to the community of Revere. Modeled after a program that we already partnered and conduct in Stonington down off Narragansett Bay. And importantly, those children include children of our future employees. Imagine that there are new hotels and restaurants, now our business partners in the Momentum program, and they're bustling with activity, visible all along the boulevard. And imagine that there are couples enjoying an afternoon at the Mohegan Sun Beach Club, a club connected by a shuttle service from our boutique hotel out to the beach that shuttles folks back and forth. Imagine that there are seniors setting up for one of a series of community concert events at the Rhinestone Bandstand. And finally, imagine that just a short distance away, those parasols, those umbrellas that we keep talking about, there they are, like the reflection of the umbrellas that are back on that very beach. This captures the essence of our unique design. This captures the essence of what our resort casino can do for Revere Beach. So as you imagine all of this, imagine that what we've done is we've accomplished the goal. Imagine that we've made Revere and Revere Beach into a superior tourist destination once again. And imagine that you have left an enduring legacy, one that makes not only a first-order economic impact on Revere, but a second-order and larger impact all along the North Shore. That's the spirit and intent of this legislation. Now, we can imagine all of this because it is, in fact, our vision. And to bring that vision into clearer focus, I'd like to introduce our friend and the Mayor of Revere, Mayor Dan Rizzo.
Good evening, Judge McHugh, members of the Commission. With one action, you can provide a powerful catalyst to make Chairman Brown's look into the future a reality. As you know, Revere The nearly 3-mile-long Crescent Revere Beach was once the anchor tenant to a mall of recreation and entertainment venues, from ballrooms to races, roller coasters to carousels, movie theaters to restaurants. Revere has long been a source of recreation and as a regional vacation and tourist destination for people across New England and beyond. In fact, just last month, Revere played host to our 11th annual International Sand Sculpting Festival, the largest of its kind to be found anywhere. This year's figures show that somewhere between 600 and 800,000 people visited Revere over a 3-day period. That number includes sculptors and families from across the world. Over the years, we've hosted hotels and restaurants of all price points, from the Point of Pines to Logan's Point. From the time a little-known landscape designer named Charles Elliott was chosen by the Parks Commission to design Revere Beach Reservation back in 1896, to the Parkway's reconstruction of the 1990s, local, state, and federal decision makers have always recognized Revere's enormous potential. Revere Beach attracts greatness all around. It always has. But it's not only the beauty of the nation's first public beach that has made and will make Revere a grand destination once again. It is much more than that. It's the warm hospitality of its people, the historical collaboration and partnership with surrounding communities, the multitude of entertainment offerings, not just in Revere, but across this great region, the majesty of thoroughbred racing, and yes, soon the newly reconstructed Great Ocean Pier. Given this enormous potential and strong regional collaboration, the likely results will be incredibly impressive. Regional unemployment rates will be at all-time lows. More residents will secure not just jobs, but careers that will provide security for their families and real opportunity for advancement. For many, home ownership will become a reality, and thanks to new local gaming tax revenues, local municipalities are now able to invest in public safety, schools and parks, and making our communities better places to live, learn, work, and play. Road improvements, long thought unfixable, will get better thanks to improvements designed for peak casino travel. The American dream will be alive and well. Consider this project by the numbers, $52 million. This is the minimum amount that Mohegan Sun will spend in annual payments to its host and 12 surrounding communities. $50 million. This is the estimate of the amount available each year for resort patrons to spend with local businesses with Mohegan's industry-changing Momentum Club Players Card program. $50 million. This is Mohegan's annual commitment to vendor spending within a 15-mile radius of the city of Revere. $45 million. This is the total private investment Mohegan Sun will spend in transportation and infrastructure improvements. 4,000. This is the number of permanent jobs being created. 2,500. This is the number of construction jobs being created. 850. This is the number of jobs being preserved in the historic thoroughbred racing industry at Suffolk Downs. 5,600. This is the number of statewide jobs, including direct, indirect, and induced jobs in the first year of operation. And finally, the number 1. This is the number of gaming licenses needed to bring all of these numbers to fruition. When you vote on September 12th, Governor Patrick and the legislature's collective vision to create jobs and generate revenues by expanding gaming and preserving thoroughbred racing will take another step closer to reality. But it will not stop there. Yes, the voters will have their say when they vote in November. But it will not stop there either. No, the real work of creating jobs will be accomplished by working with my colleagues in government, not just in Revere, but with mayors, managers, administrators, city councils, boards of aldermen, boards of selectmen from across the region. We will work hard to do the project-by-project work that capitalizes on this great opportunity, and we will do it in a way that connects our varied venues and attributes and becomes a must-see part of New England and beyond. You may know that many of my colleagues and I have already begun discussions centered around these opportunities so that we waste no time in maximizing the regional economic benefit that will come from this resort. We will continue to meet and partner together because we all see such great potential. You see, for us, this is not merely a vote for one one isolated project, but a never-ending series of projects, hotels, restaurants, and businesses that will span from the Boston waterfront to the shores of Pickering, Wharf, and Salem and beyond. I invite any one of you to sit with my Economic Development Director, John Festa, for just one day. You will hear firsthand the numerous proposals being considered by investors and developers, almost all predicated upon your decision. To be clear, this resort is not an end for us, it is just the beginning. It is the spark to a resurgence in economic activity, to a corridor of the state, and a demographic of people hit hardest by our changing economy. This is also about helping the less fortunate, the unemployed and the underemployed, and those who have sacrificed in our communities. I'm on the board of CAPIC, and I'm so excited that Mohegan Sun has partnered with that organization to set up a job training and placement program for those who need it most. Mohegan Sun will also look to train and employ disabled workers through their partnership with community enterprises. And I know that due to the great interest that Chairman Brown has in these issues, Mohegan Sun is the only applicant to have a specific program for employing our nation's heroes, our veterans, through a partnership agreement with the Massachusetts Fallen Heroes Fund. With one action, you can provide a powerful catalyst to spark a renaissance in this region's future. On behalf of my colleagues in local and state government, along with the unemployed and underemployed throughout this region, I ask each of you to vote for this project to give us the tools that fulfill the promise of Chapter 194 of the Acts of 2011, the best legislation of its kind, the Massachusetts Gaming Act. I want to thank you for your time and consideration, and I now like to call on Mitch Ellis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Great to be back here. And kind of amazing, this journey of ours is coming to a close. Hello? That this journey of ours is coming to a close. And there's a bunch of things I want to tell you, as this is my last chance to speak to you before you make this decision that's so important to the people here at Revere, to the whole Commonwealth. But I just hope that you realize how extremely important this has been to us. We put our heart and soul into this. It's critical to us. It's why we spend tens of millions of dollars and thousands of hours from Kevin and I all the way down, because it's really important to us. It's why we forge best-in-class partnerships with vendors and entrepreneurs in tourism and hospitality, entertainment venues, municipalities, unions, and neighborhoods. So I've put together an extremely talented team of architects, engineers, and experts in many fields, some local, some are world-renowned, and in many cases, both. As you know, we've been focused on providing you with all the information that you need to help in this important decision. We've offered, and we've tried to be completely transparent and strictly conform to the policies and procedures set by the governor, the legislature, and yourselves. Now, I don't have to tell you, this has been a very rigorous process, but it has, without question, made our project and our proposal better. We stand before you tonight with a location, project, proposal, and team that will make the Commonwealth proud each and every day. Mohegan Sun offers you the unique combination of being a nationally recognized gaming company, widely respected in our industry. We operate a gaming facility that does more gaming revenue than any casino in the Western Hemisphere. We have a track record of success in multiple venues, in multiple jurisdictions. And we're also a group that's been part of the New England landscape for nearly 400 years. We've evolved the Mohegan Tribe's way of cooperation, transparency, and truthfulness into the Mohegan Sun way, a corporate philosophy with the same values of openness, transparency, and trust. Our location is far superior, not just in terms of access, environmental safety, and preparedness, but that assists in the city of Revere, with its rich tradition of both gaming and hospitality. A city that's poised for the type of economic development that comes from gaming and tourism is why this act was started. Our project is a uniquely designed resort that has been conceptualized and created exclusively for Revere, one that fits into the character and the fabric of its community and integrates with the region. Mohegan Sun, Massachusetts will live and and breed Massachusetts and succeed not as a regional casino, as some suggest, but as a national, international destination befitting the Commonwealth. It will complement the city and its surroundings. It will not attempt to redefine it. As you know, just this week, as you heard today, an independent panel of architects unanimously embraced our design over that of the competitor. And of course, this will be a very sustainable project. The greenest casino in the country, truly shovel-ready, and environmentally safe. Our proposal revolves around the industry-changing economic model, the centerpiece of the Massachusetts Gaming Act, an outwardly-facing model that integrates our League and Sun Momentum Points program, and therefore the resort itself into the entertainment, tourism, convention, hospitality businesses around it, putting tens of millions of dollars for patrons out to the community to spend, out in the community, not inside the casino. In fact, our patrons will actually be able to count themselves at area attractions and restaurants and stores. This is unprecedented. It's the first in the nation. And so far, we've enrolled close to 390 participants in over 40 communities, and the list is growing as it has since I first addressed you. We have 5 million established Momentum Club members, and we've told you many times, 1 out of 6 persons in the greater Boston area are already members. But there are 4 million members from outside the Commonwealth. That means that Mohegan Sun, Massachusetts comes with loyal customers, lots of loyal customers, from the Commonwealth, from New England, from the nation, from the world. So our database will drive revenue into Massachusetts from near and far. We're excited about the tremendous diverse workforce we'll have in Revere. There are numerous partnerships with community colleges, higher education institutions, and nonprofit groups. We'll have a highly trained workforce. Mohegan's a minority-owned company, has a track record as an organization that embraces diversity. In addition, through the terms of our host and surrounding community agreements and the planning we've already shared with you, you know that we will create a diverse workforce. And because of our agreements with organized labor and because it's among our core values, we'll have a workforce that is well compensated and who can live comfortably in Revere and the surrounding communities. Our team is led by a 400-year-old tribe that exceptionally shares the Commonwealth's policies and priorities to bring a sense of teamwork and commitment that's unprecedented and unwavering. Our team extends far beyond Mohegan, Brigade, their amazing financial assets behind us and with us, our partners, KPF, Mohegan Development, and Bernard. Our team includes hundreds of local businesses, dozens of unions, the Wang, Shooter, and Colonial Theaters, area municipal and nonprofit entertainment venues, Mayor Rizzo and the citizens of Revere that are here, and all of our 12 surrounding communities. Community colleges, LaSalle College, and area nonprofit organizations such as Catholic, the Massachusetts Fallen Heroes Funds, Community Enterprises, the Northern Boston Convention and Visitors Bureau, and the Greater Boston Convention and Visitors Bureau. Now, I can't say this as eloquently as Lewis did, but you know that awarding Mohegan Sun, Massachusetts will preserve thoroughbred racing in the Commonwealth and 850 jobs at Suffolk Downs and thousands more ancillary farms and businesses. And lastly, you know exactly what it will be like to work with, the things we have done during this process, not the things that we say we'll do or that you hope we'll do. So for all those reasons and more, we know that Mohegan Sun is the clear choice for Commonwealth as its flagship gaming resort. Thank you.
All right, thank you all for your participation, for your energy, for your insights, for your comments. And I will now entertain a motion to close the statutory hearing with respect to the Mohegan Sun application. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Let me go up and sit.